This video is sponsored by Aquashine Exteriors, professional jet washing and cleaning services across Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole, including Dorset, Hampshire and Wiltshire. Are you feeling it's time to get that driveway nice and shiny for when you come home? Or are you wanting to get that guttering tidied up and spotless again? They deliver this, plus much, much more. Please head into the description below where you'll find their details for their website, including the socials, Facebook and Instagram. You also need to find their before and after portfolio. You can also call them on 07503 998 088 for a free quotation. Don't wait till next week. Don't think you'll do it another day. Pick up the phone, give them a call, check them out.
You can tell it's been a while since I've done one of these. Hello, Bournemouth fans. Forgetting to put myself in the video. Welcome to another watch along here on the Cherries Red Army YouTube channel. I haven't really practiced much for this. I've got to say this was not a late decision, but I think it's been a while since we've done a watch along, and I think this is one of the few opportunities we've got before the end of the season where all the games are going to be live, and so there are no issues with me being on here saying that I can watch it from my own home. But how are you all doing? Looking forward to the game tonight. I have to say I've started getting a little bit nervous as the day has dragged on. I've been giving it one quite a bit on the Beat the Drop show on Monday night. If you don't watch that, which has been really good fun on the Forest Fan TV, that Bournemouth are basically safe if we just get another point. Well, a point if we get another win. If we get another win, I'd say we're basically safe. But I certainly think a point would almost do it for us. But if we were to lose, yeah, this is what I'm worried about, because suddenly a loss makes things incredibly interesting, because it's this week that West Ham, followed by Southampton, followed by Leeds. If we don't get anything from any of those, we're in big trouble. Obviously, you know, we've got Chelsea at home, which is a game that I think we've got a decent chance of getting something from. We've got Crystal Palace away, who will be safe by that point. We've also got Everton away last game of the season. But last time we had Everton away last game of the season, we won that game, but we went down. So I really don't know what to think. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. 20 already. That's more numbers than I'd expected this early on, given that it's 30 minutes to go. Thank you very much for everyone that's joining us. Let's have a look. We've got AFCB Fan TV. Thank you very much for joining us. Ben, thank you. Yeah, win. I do think a win basically sees us safe. I think it really does. David's already going for putting his predictions in, going for a 3-1. I mentioned Forest Fan TV. Hello, lads. I hope you're doing well. And hopefully you're not feeling too good about yourselves after that win last night. It's only first one since February. So you know, fair play though. Definitely deserved that win against a Brighton side I really thought would beat you. But you've got to hold your hands up and say that you really did well in that second half there. Will, I have a bad feeling. Worried we lost momentum for this. I'll take a point right now. Well, I mean, you say that, Will, but do bear in mind that we went win, loss, win, loss, win for a good set of games. Just one loss against West Ham, considering we won 2 prior to that. That's not a nullification of our form. I don't think. I think we should come into this with some confidence. And Sean, hello again, Sean. Not sure about the defensive side of the lineup. Christy loves attack, leaving space, but Vinny was so good at attacking, so we'll have to defend a lot more. I think that leaves us very nicely onto the lineups, but I do need to see if anyone else is joining us. Hello, Dave from Austria. Wow, hello, Davey. Nice of you to join us. Mark Cole, thank you very much for joining us. Phil, we need 2 more wins to think about safety. 39 guarantees it, yeah, no doubt, but I do think 36 is probably enough. Liam, nice to see a Saints fan joining us. Forest Fan TV, just hoping for Saints to win. Brian, hello, nice for joining us again. Another Forest fan. Congratulations with your win. I hope we join you with 3 points tonight. Alan, evening all, a win tonight will settle a few nerves. Even a point will do. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I honestly think a point will do us. I really do. David from Australia, hello. Thank you very much. 4:20 a.m. wake up. Ooh, boy. Yeah, don't worry. I'll be chatting more on Monday with you lot. Forest winning every. It doesn't help. It really doesn't help. I do think I wasn't expecting that one. I'm guessing that's a Forest fan joining us, Pat. Vignette left me with a lot more confidence. Yeah, we will. We'll dive into the lineup shortly. Liam, did I miss your comment, Liam? I did put your comment up, Liam. I just oh, you ain't a Saints fan. Okay, so you're someone who hopes Bournemouth lose. So is that Forest? Is that I'm not sure. There's plenty that won't want us to win, I'm sure. You're gonna Onoachi coming at you, or at least he's failed to do so ever since he's joined. But yeah, I do wonder what they were thinking with that one. But it seems we're getting partially taken over by Forest fans at the moment. But to be honest, I don't mind that. We'll take the views from everywhere. And also Sean, Bournemouth born and bred, live in Mexico. Which is hello, Sean. Well, fair play for joining us from Mexico. It'd be pretty late at night at this point, wouldn't it? And Pat, I will be over for Grumpy Old Reds. Okay. We'll take one more question here. Jon Spark, if you were a Forest fan, who would you back? Oh, yeah, of course you'd back Southampton. You'd want Southampton to win. I'm not sure you'd back Southampton to win, but you'd certainly want them to win. I don't think a draw is that bad for you either. But to be honest, Bournemouth aren't the team I think you'd be looking to catch. I think Leeds or Leicester or Everton, they're the team that you want to lose. If anything, you kind of want Southampton to lose so that Bournemouth just leave the battle and Southampton stay down there and you don't have to compete with Southampton anymore. Anyway, you can talk about the mathematics all you like, which I would like to do. I do like the maths. But let's start. 11:28. Oh, I've got my things wrong. Of course, you're way behind us, aren't you? That's my bad. So lineups. Here we have with SofaScore, as per typical things with SofaScore and smaller teams, they haven't got the players in the right order. But for the most part, they do. Vignette here, they've got on the right wing back. Clearly, he's going to be left wing back for those of us that watched Bournemouth against Spurs. We're going to have Vignette at left wing back. We'll have Tavernier at right wing back. And then within the defensive three, it'll be Mepham on the right-hand side and Senesi in the middle. So only two swaps. But as for Southampton's lineup, I do think that I'm not sure about that one because I don't believe Adam Armstrong is a left winger. I'm pretty sure he's a striker. I don't know whether that will mean we'll see Theo Walcott at right wing. I'm not sure whether it'll be Alcaraz as a number 10 or whether he plays more on the left. Although Elyounoussi, I believe, is more of a left winger. I'm not entirely sure about Southampton's one, to be honest. It could be 4-4-2. They have done it in the past. Might be more of a 4-3-3. I'm interested as to what people are thinking about going back to a 3-4-3 for us. I do think that you've got to look at how good we were on the counter against Spurs and say that it's not a bad idea to be switching back to the formation that clearly did us quite well in that match. It just depends on whether Southampton try to take the initiative. I'm not overly familiar with exactly how Southampton play in terms of do they want to hold on to the ball or do they want to play more counter-attack style. I have a feeling that they probably should be trying to play more counter-attack, but they will be quite comfortable on the ball as well, I'm sure. They have a higher average possession than Bournemouth so far this season. So I'm kind of expecting Southampton to want to be the ones to take the initiative in the game, which is going to suit us. We want to be the ones to counter. So it's going to be an interesting one. Will mentioned Smith not starting. Smith didn't start when we played against Spurs. I think it's one of the very few matches that he hasn't started for us this season. He's not a right wing back. He can't play that role. He doesn't have the ability to get up and down the wing anymore. He's just not got the stamina in him. Whereas Tavernier is an interesting one on the right because he's not quite good enough defensively to deal with the better players. But when he gets forward, he's got the pace and an ability to beat anyone. So it should be an interesting one. Saints need a ball. That's what we're hoping for. That's certainly what we're hoping. Are you sure Vigneault is on the left as Kelly is always on there and Tavernier would be on the left since Christie always played on the right? I'm purely going based off our formation against Spurs because it was exactly this against Spurs. It was a 4-3-3 it was a 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1 with Billing and Christie able to sort of roam a little bit more behind Solanke. Vigna bombing down the left. Vigna, he scored a goal and was almost set up one for Christie in that match. He'll be bombing down the left-hand side, and Tavernier will be playing the right. It will be basically identical to what we played against Spurs. I am 99.9% certain. Ben, if we don't win tonight, it's not the worst. Just on this, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Kurt put up a tweet for Cherries Red Army asking people what their predictions were for the final games of the season. Speaking of which, might as well ask everyone here what they're going to think about the last few games of the season. Where are we? Here we are. Reverse fixtures. That's our last 6 games, and that's what we got against them in the previous matches. So really, it doesn't look all that good for us, to be fair. But at the same time, you've got to remember how bad we were against Saints. We've got to remember we were 2 goals up against Leeds, and this Leeds side could concede 4 again quite easily, as they have conceded 9 in their previous 2 home games. Before they played Leicester, in which case that was a 1-1 draw, or they probably should have won that. Chelsea, we've got a ridiculously good record against, considering they're a top 6 side. And, I mean, if we didn't win that game, it would be Lampard's first points of the season, probably. So I think we could do well against Chelsea. Crystal Palace could be anything, but I'm not looking for any points against Palace. Man United at home, I'm not expecting any points. And I'm hoping that it won't matter what we get against Everton. But we could draw or win that conceivably. What are people thinking about sort of our run in here? Do we think if we don't get a point against Leeds, that if we don't get anything against Southampton, or if we only get a draw against Southampton, we should be good after Leeds and Chelsea? Or are people thinking it's going to go down to the line against Everton? I think we should have enough before we get to playing Palace, really. I think we should have picked up at least 2 points by then, which I think would probably be enough, but 3 or 4 would be ideal, obviously. Let me have a look and see what people are commenting. Ben, lovely to see you joining us. Pat, I'm going to watch live on TV here in the States. Thank you. Thank you for keeping an eye on the Cherries from over there across the pond. David, definitely Vigna left wing back, Kelly with left centre back. Yeah. And left centre back in a back 3 is basically the only position I think I actually like Kelly in at the moment. Maybe left centre back in a back 4, but I'm not liking him as a left back at the moment. I think we'll draw tonight 1-1 and beat Leeds. Chelsea are so beatable right now too. Yeah, I have to say my prediction is 7 points from the next 3 games, really. It's 1 tonight, 3 against Leeds and 3 against Chelsea. I'm being overly optimistic against Chelsea, I'll admit. I'm being overconfident on that one, but I do think we've got a really good chance. Could I find the straight huge relegation 6 points this afternoon? Absolutely. Much more for Southampton than us. I do think a draw, it really is going to be good enough. Southampton, Leeds, Arsenal, and ourselves are all straight bad. Southampton leads Arsenal, and ourselves are all straight bad. The other 3 have nothing really to play for. Do you mean Chelsea? And the other 3 have nothing else to play for. Yeah. Everton. Ourselves are all straight bad. I wouldn't say we're that bad. Dave, if we can't get 3 or 4 points from those fixtures, we don't deserve it. Yeah, no, I agree. Hello, Wayne. Nice to see you again. The Fulham fan that joins us. Fans will win against them 2-1. Good luck for the rest of the season for Fulham fan. Yep, and it must be nice for you to not have to be in the relegation battle at this stage of the season. Fulham are way out of it. Fulham are on the beat. Well, I thought that too, and then they went and picked up 2 wins in a row, so they're not that beachy at the moment. Sean, draws are all we need against relegation teams. We'll be fine. Yes. If you were to say that we would draw against, if you were to say we don't win a game till the rest of the season, but we draw against Southampton, Leeds, Palace, and Everton, we'd be up. I have no doubt that we'd stay up after that. Charlie, as long as we continue to play how we were pre-West Ham, I think it should be able to 6-7 points out of the next three, which would see us safe. Yeah, absolutely. I do think that West Ham, I have looked at West Ham, the game against West Ham as more of a one-off in terms of no other team. So this is an interesting one because I mentioned this on Twitter that I said I would consider the West Ham game as a bit of a one-off. And I got at least one response saying, have you been watching Bournemouth for the last few months? I was like, well, yes, I have. My point is that no one else plays like West Ham in the league, apart from maybe Newcastle when things are not earlier on in the season. But we got 2 points against them. We were unlucky not to get all three when we were at home to them. West Ham play an incredibly physical, very defensive game that no other team really plays. And we don't have the capability to break through them. As soon as they scored their first goal, we were done. We had no chance in that match because we want to counter and they weren't going to do anything to let us counter. So that one has left my head. It's just one of those times. I'm not actually that worried about that West Ham result. We need to be looking at all the other performances that we pulled off against other teams, really good wins, really good performances, and just building on what we have been doing. And I believe that we can do that. Sean, we need to be safe before Everton. It would be beneficial to give Everton 3 points, especially if the game points section next year. That's a very good point, actually, Sean. You're thinking freaking 5D chess here from Sean. Keep them in the Premier League so that they get the points reduction next season, and just take one of the spots. To be honest, I worry so much about Everton in their financial. If they go down, Everton could drop like a stone. They could plummet down the divisions. It's weird. I just think they would just not have the money. They don't have any money to spare. If they go down, they are in such a bad spot. And I do worry about almost coming up sort of their existence in terms of if they get dropped down because of incredibly bad financial mismanagement and they get chucked out of the football pyramid into non-league, they'll probably just stop existing. Connor, I picked Bournemouth, Forest, and Everton to drop pre-season. Man, I've been wrong. Only partially. I had Bournemouth to go down. In my head, I had Bournemouth to go down this season. I put a bet on Bournemouth to come bottom and Man City to win the league to see if Bournemouth dropped, then at least I'd get some money out of it. Not, of course, if they'd finished 18th or 19th, the bet doesn't come in. Assuming Man City win the league, which they are now going to, which didn't look like for a while. But that's so Machiavellian. It's brilliant. Ben, I think we set up the season. That's incredible. New manager next season. We could back in. Who knows where we can go? Yeah. I don't know. I'm just so on the fence with regards to Gary Neal at the moment because I don't like the idea that it's an up and coming coach that has been a success. If he keeps us up, he has been a success and a really good one. We as Bournemouth fans, and I think a lot of us do feel as though we are underestimated as a squad in this league. Our whole squad has been good enough since January. Our first 11 has been good enough since the start of the season to keep us up, but it was always going to rely on things going a little bit our way and us being able to come up with the plan to execute and make it work. And Gary Neal has done that. People can be sort of he's messed things up here and there. Yes, so is literally every manager that's fighting in a relegation scrap since the beginning of time. But I don't like the idea of being well done, thank you for doing well, now shove it so that we can get a good guy in. It's really at our level, if you've got a thing that's working, I don't think you should just throw it away. Because, who else? If we bring someone else in and it doesn't work, that looks like a terrible decision. It's a really difficult one. I'm really not entirely sure whether I would get rid of him. Sean, we're watching in the pub. It's a shame, Sean. I do enjoy when you're sending in your comments during the match, but I hope you have a lovely time at the pub. MB, beating Liverpool and Spurs deserves to stay up. Yes, I would say that just getting enough wins deserves to stay up. Southampton got 2 points off Arsenal. They beat Chelsea. They got a draw at Old Trafford. that sounds like it's enough to stay up, but they haven't done enough against the other teams around them. So you've got to have enough points to deserve to stay up. Beating Spurs is not a big thing. Have Forest done that? I mean, you beat Liverpool. We did that. I don't know. Newcastle made it look a bit easier than it actually is, I think. David, hard like a manager that's performed to expectations. Unless a world-class manager is available and willing, he will get the start next season. Yep, I totally believe that. Will our squad is underrated? To a point. I do think to a point it is. I do think there's a lot of people that just say, oh, Bournemouth have stayed up. Gary O'Neill's manager of the season. It's not like that. But to say like Gary O'Neill's really nowhere near as good as we could get, I think it's being disingenuous to Gary, because it's not as easy to just say, here's your squad, keep us up. I mean, that's what that's what a lot of owners will do, but that's a lot easier said than done. This isn't FIFA and Football Manager. Potter feels like an opportunity. Potter... Would Potter drop down to being a Bournemouth manager? Bearing in mind Brighton, fair enough, but once he's had a go at Chelsea, I mean, to be fair, there's not too many opportunities in the league I reckon he would be able to get. With O'Neill, every time he looks on the ropes, I'm guessing that is, he picks up form, just need one final push. Yep. And I do think, like I mentioned before, we've gone win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. We could easily bounce back with heck a draw. Like I mentioned, even a draw would do. If Gary O'Neill keeps the Cherries up, it will be a disservice to him. Give the man a chance. Ignite the team after. Yeah, especially. I agree. Then we'll just know. Well, you don't have to worry about too much long term, Ben, because he's only got another year. Like, if let's say, because I think it will have dropped. I agree with your point about Potter. His stock has dropped, but I'm not sure that not doing well at that Chelsea, I'm not sure it will have damaged him too badly, because you've only got to look at what Lampard's come in and done, and he hasn't got a point since he joined. Yes, sorry, I mentioned long term. He's only got another year on his contract after the end of this season. So if let's say we do give him the summer and we give him 2 months to say, look, we want to see how you do. We'll review it at January. If we think you're doing well enough to keep us up, we will extend your contract in January. But if we think that he's not going to cut it, we barely need to provide him a payoff. That's incredibly materialistic, I guess. Is that the phrase I'm looking for? Or pessimistic, negative of me? I don't know. It's not very nice to talk about someone's job to just say, if you're not doing well, whatever. It's 9 months of a salary. But it is part of the plan, without a doubt. He was only given 18 months because it was like, we'll see how it goes. So far, he's been a success, without a doubt. We personally wrote Carrick. I don't know if he were really bad at the start of next season and he would want to leave. And it depends if Middlesbrough go up as well. Admittedly, I'd probably favour Luton or maybe even Sunderland in those playoffs if they stay up. But if Middlesbrough come up, there's no chance we get Carrick. If they stay in the Championship, we've got a chance. You just have to bear in mind, we went for Parker because he did a decent job in the Championship and is a young English manager with international pedigree. I don't think Carrick's anything like Parker. Carrick's far more attacking in his management style, but let's just wait and see. I would actually. There are people that know Bournemouth far better than me. Have we ever hired a non-English, non-British manager? Have we ever hired a non-English manager, like ever in our history? Because I'm only familiar with going so far back, and I haven't looked it up. Have we ever actually hired a non-English or non-British manager? Because it's been a few decades, and we've only had Englishmen, as far as I'm aware. Or maybe, we did have Pulis, who's Welsh, but there you go, non-British. Well, Pulis is Welsh. Why do I say Pulis is Welsh in my head? Am I right about that? I don't know. Or Playfield has. Maybe I'm. Whoopsie. Maybe I'm wrong about that. No. Okay. Yeah. No. There we go. I wonder how many other top flight teams can say that. We do nothing if not give our countrymen a chance. Even if they spit in our faces now and again, Parker. Right. Countdown on the way. I forgot to put this banner up. Only UK and Ireland managers. Oh, in terms of Forest, I'm guessing that might be in the, but it could be both. To be fair, although Forest has been through a few more managers than we have. Are there many foreign managers? No, I mean, I agree. Like, you know, if you go back like 4 decades, I doubt there were really any foreign managers. But it's just sort of like, you know, obviously the times have changed over the last few decades. Pulis is like, yeah, I was right. I don't know why. That came to my head, and I was like, I'm really sort of, for some reason I wasn't sure about that. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, there are not many that are as bad as Watford, and it worked for them for a good decade, ish, depending on your definition of worked, and it's completely failed now. So, you know, it seems you can have too much of a good thing at times. Okay, so we are 2 minutes away. Last second predictions. If you'd like to put those in the chat for us, put your thoughts on paper, as it were. Put your thoughts. That's not the phrase I'm looking for. I don't know. Words aren't fully there for me at the moment, I don't think. Put your money where your mouth is. No, we're not betting. I don't know. My phrases aren't there at the moment today. Let's have a record of what you thought. That's kind of what I'm going with. I personally am going for a 1-1. I'm personally going for a 1-1 draw. I think I'm just a little bit cautious about Southampton sort of being more up for this than we are. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I certainly think we'll score, and I'm not confident we'll keep a clean sheet. Purely because at some point, James Ward-Prowse is going to put it on a plate for someone from a free kick or a corner. I almost have no doubt about that. So yeah, I'm sticking with the 1-1 for the moment. Jack is saying AFC win 2-1. David's feeling optimistic. 2-0 Cherries, cliche, but first goal so critical. Yep, absolutely. Alan in Finland. Oh, right. Oh. God, we've got people all over the place. Thank you for joining us tonight on the watch along. If you do want to keep me on, then I'll be absolutely thrilled. If you don't have a second screen or a mobile or whatever to keep me on, and you just want to watch the game, I won't feel offended at all. The game is what you're here to watch, not me on screen. Will's going for a 1-1. Jack, anything more than a goal win is huge in my books. Yep, just any win. Very unpredictable this game too. Yeah, I'm similar in terms of like I'm really not entirely sure what's going to happen with this one. So the match should be on shortly, I imagine, because I'm taking it through from I'm coming through from on my internet connection. I'm going to be a little bit behind the rest of you. I always am. It just happens. It's not the end of the world. I would appreciate if you are watching along and you have me on here and you want to find my reaction. I'm saying goal here, goal there, and whatnot. It happens, but for the most part, wait until I see it, and then we'll talk about it. And you can start putting your reactions and stuff on. But yes. Please, if you are not subscribed to the channel and you find this interesting, I'm not sure how many more watch-alongs I'm going to be doing this season, but I certainly will be trying to do watch-alongs next season, particularly if we stay up. But we do have other content we put out every single week, previews, reviews, and other chats outside of just the general match day weeks. And we have hit 1,500 subscribers recently, which is a great number for us. So just looking to keep build and keep attracting people, and every like and every subscribe really, really helps. We've got Nick commenting here for Potter. The Chelsea job was a poison chalice, not helped by a unit. Yeah, exactly. Lampard was attracted by his past Chelsea, but he should have stayed at Derby because that was his level. And even Derby, debatedly, wasn't even his level. He joined Derby when they were 6th. He got them to 6th. You know, I mean, he brought in some decent youngsters as well, the likes of Tamori, Mount, and I think he had Wilson. Was it Mount and Wilson at the same time there? He had a pretty nice squad at Derby, and he only got them 6th. So, and look where they've gone now. No, I'm not going to be showing the match. No, it's on BT Sport 3. If you do not have BT Sport 3, then I can't help you, but maybe someone on the internet can help you. Mark Collins, let's give those. Mark, nice to have you. Nice to have you joining us. I'd imagine for most of you the game's kicked off by now, but accidentally close down my browser. That was stupid of me. So yeah, as I said, I'm in all likelihood going to be a good bit behind the rest of you. But when the game starts for me, I will let you know. Sorry, being quiet. I need to turn this down because I've got the commentators coming through quite strongly to my headphones. There we go. Is this behind schedule for anyone else? Is that actually started for anyone yet? Wow, I am absolutely miles behind. Let's see, Nick's saying a draw would be a good result for Bournemouth, but not for Southampton. Yeah, Southampton really can't do anything but win. Really, they really can't afford. They can't afford to drop any points in this game. Yeah, so the biggest threat for Southampton that we've got to worry about is absolutely set pieces. Mark can't be doing any silliness. We've had players that have definitely been silly for that in the past during these games. So hopefully, don't worry about that today. Man, it is shutting it down. Oh yeah, just tweak McCarthy's in goal. Zuni's been playing for them all season. So it's an interesting one to suddenly make that change. God, I'm about 5 minutes behind the rest of you. Right, so for me, the game's kicked off, but I have a feeling I'm about 5 minutes behind. So, in terms of formation, certainly feel as though I've called that right in terms of Nepham right centre back, Nessie in the middle, Kelly on the left. We've started with, Tavernier definitely on the right-hand side. Oh, that wasn't a handball. Camera there. Can hear the Bournemouth fans chanting. Yep, good to hear it. You do love it. So, been somewhat 50-50 so far. I mean, I'm only a minute and a half in. To start with, we've actually got Christie playing more on the left and Billing off the right, which is the other way around to what they were. The other way around to what they were before, in terms of what they were doing most of the time against Spurs. But as I mentioned, Christie and Billing will definitely swap across. That looked like a foul on Rothwell, but wasn't given. And we do have Adam Armstrong, does seem to be playing left mid, which is an interesting one. Tavernier coming back here, doing very well. Nepham messing around with it in the box and not getting rid of it quickly enough. So the ball goes back to Southampton. That's a very good through ball. Theo Walcott taking a shot. Good save. Be careful about that. He's obviously scored against Arsenal recently, so we don't want him to be doing that again versus us. Ooh, just barely onside as well. Good run. Good save by Neto. It was on his weaker foot, so it wasn't the greatest shot. Can't allow him to do that too many more times, though. Oh, come on. Well, Bournemouth's start against West Ham was pretty darn poor. I think we'd already conceded by this point. So we need to be much better on top of it. Okay, so Lenky charging down the left-hand side. That's got to be a foul. Oh, come on, ref. I do feel, when you're a full flight like that, it doesn't take a lot to push you over. He stands. He moves to go across him. I'm surprised the referee didn't give that. If that's in the middle of the pitch, he gives that every day of the week. Going to be worried about Alcaraz's position at the moment. Walker Peters on the right hand side, crossing in low, blocked easily. Kelly to Vigna to Christie, back to Vigna, back to Christie. Christie through to Solanke, who is tackled by Benrek. Throw on the halfway line for Bournemouth. I am a little bit worried about when Southampton are attacking, because we've got a midfield two, and you've got a player like Alcaraz of Southampton that isn't. I don't think he's quite the out-and-out striker. I think he likes to drop a little bit, just find pockets in between the midfield and defence. He's going to pick up the ball a lot, and then Walcott doesn't. Well, I'm really not sure what we'll get from Walcott. To be honest, he's not exactly got the pace he used to. And doing the picking the ball up or whacking the ball out of play there. Not too much going on at the moment. Yeah, it is Adam Armstrong playing at left mid. I honestly did not expect him to do that. I've only ever known him as a striker. Obviously, maybe he could play at left wing, but ooh, Alex McCarthy slip. Ooh. Well, that tells you how far behind I am, Ben, because I've just seen the McCarthy slip. Wow, so that really is 57, 4 minutes behind. Ooh. Right, Bournemouth are being pressed well by Southampton. Back to Neto in goal. As I mentioned before, I do think we work far better as a counter-attacking side. Now, Southampton have nowhere near as good a defence as West Ham do, and they aren't the same physical force that West Ham are. But we haven't won a single game this season when we have had more possession than our opponent. Oh, lovely feet from Tavernier there, beating two men. Heading down the right-hand side. Cross ball to Christie. No, Vigna. Vigna on the edge of the box. Into Christie. Christie turns. Oh, shots blocked and rolls behind Billing. Billing on the ball, looking to cross in, blocked. WARD-PROWSE clears to Mepham. Thank you very much, Ben. Will, Saints fans weren't happy with the lineup on Twitter. Oh, well, I mean, I'd imagine they're not happy with very much at the moment, to be fair. The point against Arsenal would have been some rare respite for them this season, but, I mean, they're still some way off it, off getting out of this position. But, you know, a win tonight would absolutely do it for them. And they do have their first corner of the game. Rather hopeless attempt at a cross from El Yunusi, just bounces straight off Senesi Vigna and goes out. This is obviously where we're all somewhat worried about Southampton's set pieces, but they play that one short, but work the angle, take it around. Kelly clears, goes out to our lovely tackle from Mepham, and then there's a slip when the shot is attempted. Christie whacks the ball long to Tavernier. Tavernier could be, it's a 1-on-1, it's turning into a 3-on-6. Tavernier still on the ball, still Tavernier. Blocked, shot blocked. And then he tries to nudge it around Armstrong and fails. I mean, he's got to take the shot there, really. He just needs to do it a little bit quicker. The longer he kept hold of that, the more difficult that was going to become. But that was the counter-attacking I was talking about. We definitely want to be getting opportunities to counter, but you don't really want to be giving them set pieces to allow us to counter. That's sort of the trade-off here. You want to just let them get into our half, crowd them out, and then win it back and pounce. But a lot easier said than done. Southampton have been passing around on the right-hand side for a bit here. WARD-PROWSE in the middle. Back to Chaleta, who passes it straight to Tavernier, who dallies on the ball a little bit, has no idea what he's going to do with the ball, being crowded out, and gets a throw-in, very fortunately. You can't just stand. He wins the ball back and he just stands there. You can't be doing that. You've got to actually decide what you're going to do with it. Mepham was the passing option way before that point. I couldn't see a touch there. He may have got away with that one, but Mepham with the throw. 1-2 with Rothwell, and he hits it long. WARD-PROWSE heads it. Lerma heads it down to Billing. Very nice. And there we have it at the back. Senesi with the long ball over to Vigna. Want to see more of those, but I do want to see Vigna actually control it rather than the ball going out for a throw. 10 minutes, 15 seconds in on my watch. Still 0-0. And Ryan Christie is on the floor. That's an odd one. Fingers crossed he doesn't stay down for long there. Now I'm having internet issues. There we go. Oh boy, really having problems with this at the moment. Oh, now I've massively caught up, I think. Have I? I think my stream suddenly caught up again. Then Southern presenter claiming we were way worse than Saints at set pieces when we almost scored from their set piece, so balls down. Very little rest. It seems like it might be a homer. Hope not. Yeah, I think my stream is now caught up. I've missed a couple of minutes. I'm now on 16 minutes 23. I've just missed 4 minutes of action. My stream is finally caught up. I'm now on 16 minutes 33. One ball almost working out there. Not a hell of a lot of quality so far, I would say, from what I've seen. I think Southampton have had the best chance that Southampton have had the one decent chance. Oh, hello, lovely pass through to Solanke, who seems one-on-one. Solanke, and then yes, oh, it's offside. So Solanke goes through, the ball falls, tries to score, fails. It's saved by McCarthy. The ball falls to Vigna, who slams it in the back of the net from just outside the box. But the flag has gone up for offside. So it's whether Solanke is offside. That is very close, but I think he'll be offside by a hair. I have a feeling that Solanke will be offside by a hair here, but this is going to be very, very close. And yeah, it's been confirmed it's offside. What's the problem for the ref? Is that a Southampton? Is that the Southampton or Bournemouth fans that set off a flare? Oh, that's so close from Solanke there. Lovely pass from Rothwell. Solanke should finish that, but then when it falls to Vigna, he does very well. Keeps it down, slams it in the back of the net. Oh, that's an awful attempt at a goal from Solanke. He hits it straight at McCarthy. Literally straight at him. Correct call by the assistant ref, and also correctly implementing the rules to leave it long enough for the ball to hit the back of the net before then putting up the flag. No, that's not a foul. Solanke colliding with Bednarek there. It's not a foul, but it did seem like a heavy challenge. Southampton playing it around the back again. Lavia getting past Christie. Good touch, first touch from Armstrong. Comes inside. He's looking for the shot. He's still going. He wants to take the shot. Wonderful block by Rothwell. Oh, that's somehow spun for a corner. Oh, playing on days there, the way that's drifted. Another short corner. They're trying to work the angle again. Comes in. That was miles away from anyone. And now we have another opportunity to counter, but Lerma's pass is poor and it's intercepted by WARD-PROWSE. The visibility's been cut in half. There's so much rain coming down. WARD-PROWSE, header in, and then Senesi almost puts it in the back of his own net. He heads it onto the bar. Close one. Who is that on the left? I think that's Vigna. He's got to do more to stop that cross. He doesn't do anything to stop that cross. I was absolutely raging at Kelly for one of the goals against West Ham because he didn't do enough to block a cross, and Vigna made no attempt there. Corner comes in, cleared by Kelly before Neto can punch it. Another cross attempted. I hope that's not looked back again. Number 24, is that Elyounoussi, possibly? Has definitely given Christie a little tug there to prevent the counter-attack. And yeah, good luck claiming for that. They've just shown the replay of apparently Billings' handball, and it's tucked right into his body. There's no way in hell that that's going to be given as a handball. Bournemouth playing it around the back again. Another long ball there, and Solanke has got the better of Bednarek. He's on the left-hand side, one-on-one. He's going off. He's laying it off to Billing. Billing shoots and sends it about 5 goal heights over. And that's. I tell you what, if they really cannot deal with balls over the top to Solanke, he's going to have a field day. Because they are not going to help themselves, Southampton, if they keep making the mistake of allowing Solanke to make those kinds of runs and not get caught offside. They've had the warning shot already with Solanke going through and just barely being offside when Vigna put the ball in the back of the net. Lavia's down now, and while I would never wish anything on a player, Lavia going off injured would be really good news for Bournemouth. He's been a very, very important player for them. So if he were to come off injured, that would be great news for Bournemouth, but I certainly wouldn't wish injury on someone. See, the shirt it's a wet t-shirt contest out there at the moment. Absolutely chucking it down. I look out the window up here in the north, and just grey. It's not raining, thankfully, up here. Let's just have a look at the other scores if I can bring them up for myself. What are the rest of the scores doing? And so far, the only other score that's on at the moment is Everton-Newcastle 0-0. That's it. Tottenham-Man United doesn't kick off for another 7 minutes. Now, obviously, Newcastle beating Everton would be great news for us, as for most of the other teams down the bottom. But going to Goodison, you could easily see that being a 0-0. But, we'll see what happens. Kelly with the long ball up to Solanke again, but he has to compete that time rather than it going in behind. If Billy and Christie aren't close enough to Solanke, those balls aren't worthy going up to compete for. Oh, but Billy and Christie do well. Vigna's pushing forward. Lavia's all over him. But he does get back and force us to play it backwards. Rothwell's now on the ball in the middle of the park. Plays it to Lerma. Lerma to Solanke. Solanke looking for the chance to turn or shoot. Hits it straight as Shalata. I don't know why he's bothering to shoot from there. Could have tried to work that a bit more. Southampton tried to clear it. SAINTSFC, lovely chest control. Straight into Solanke again, who's got time and space. He's pushing forward. So Christie almost takes it off him, and he goes, and... Oh, goal kick. Christie there tries to take... Solanke there passed it to Christie, expecting a 1-2. And then Christie tries to take another touch. I don't know what he's doing. Just let him carry running on. The whole point of that pass was to make a 1-2. I don't know what the hell Christie's trying to do there. Brian, yep, still 0-0. There's not really been too many chances. We had the ball in the back of the net. Solanke was barely just barely offside though, so the goal wasn't given. No, nothing wrong. Oh, okay. Well, that one I thought Vinya and I think it was Elnyanusi went shoulder to shoulder. Vinya went over, but the referee gave a foul. I didn't personally see the foul in that one. Ben over there in the East Midlands, rain, but not as hairy as St Mary's. Yeah, it's doesn't look very nice. Billing to Tavernier on the right hand side. Kelly over to Vinya, who comes inside, dribbles in, tries to play a pass, but gets intercepted. And now Southampton are looking to break, but Rothwell gets in the way of Walker-Peters, but then I was going to say, yeah, Walker-Peters plays the ball down to Alcaraz, but he was that far off the Walcott even. He was that far off, the referee instantly put his flag up because it was pretty clear he was offside. That's what we want from assistant referees. When it's obvious, we want them to put it up, and when it's sort of within a foot, then let it play, and then we'll find out afterwards. If it's like if there's clear daylight, just put your flag up. So at the moment, I think Bournemouth have swung the possession a little bit recently, but so far Southampton have had more of the ball. So long ball again to Solanke, battling with Bednarek over the top, but Bednarek just about wins that battle. Christie on Walker-Peters does well, forces him to clear it out. That's exactly what I want to see from Christie. Having Billing on the right and Christie on the left is an interesting change around. I do think... I'm not sure it really matters all that much. Oh, lovely long ball from SAINTSFC to Vinya, who's right in the left-hand corner of the Southampton half, being pressed by Walker-Peters, but he comes back and passes it to Rothwell, does nice there. Goes back to Kelly, and we're all the way back to SAINTSFC, unfortunately. But SAINTSFC to Lerma. Lerma's looking for the pass to cut through, but doesn't have an option. And he got taken out a little bit there. I do think Rothwell is sort of the one that's sort of more responsible for making the breaking pass, but Lerma can do that at times. I would like to see him try and be a little bit more progressive with his passing in moments, because sometimes I find he just basically just decides to play sideways most of the time. But SAINTSFC's the playmaker from the back that I like to see. That was a very poor pass, though. He's trying to spray him around and really sort of actually get us moving. I do think SAINTSFC is... If I was to pick a back four, if Kelly has to play, he's not at centre-back for me. To be honest, I wouldn't have him at left-back either. I'd have Vinya at left-back. I'd have SAINTSFC as the shoe-in at left centre-back. Right-back, I'd probably have Nepham, but you could easily play Stevens. We've yet to see what Zabani can do. And then at right-back, I suppose it'd be Smith, but that's one of the first positions I'd upgrade this at halfway. Oh, Mepham does really well there to dribble and get a corner. Blimey. Newcastle 1-0 up. Oh, great stuff. That's what we love to see. No, that was me saying you wouldn't be surprised to see a 0-0. But Everton can't afford to sit around. Callum Wilson, Bournemouth's goal machine. God, it'd be lovely to see Callum Wilson in the Premier League. Corner coming in from the right-hand side. SAINTSFC misses the overhead kick. Bounces to a Southampton player who whacks it clear. Kelly on the ball at the back. Now, I don't know why Kelly isn't going up for corners. Ooh, Tavernier on the right-hand side. Lovely ball to Christie on the right. He crosses it in with his weak foot, but it's no. Long and wide and nowhere near. Straight out of play. Yeah, it's a shame Christie on his weak foot. If it's a right footer, then he can do something with that, but Christie's very left-footed. Southampton waiting for us to press, I think. We let it get to the left-hand side before initiating our press. Adam Armstrong with it, moves it well. Oh, lovely interception from Rothwell, but he loses the ball again, and that's not good. Played through to Alcaraz. Now it's with Walcott up against Kelly, one-on-one. Kelly closing him down. He's there. Good, prevents the shot. Walcott's got to turn around and go backwards. That's better defending from Kelly. I like to see that from him. And Lavia hits it straight out of play because Walcott's on his front foot, not on his back foot. And completely fails to even move from his spot in attempting to receive the ball. 30 minutes, just about to hit 31 minutes. There's 31 minutes on the clock for me. And Bournemouth have certainly... Can I say they've looked the better team? I'm not sure I'd go that far. Bournemouth were unfortunate not to be ahead in terms of there was, like an inch in it. But Bournemouth on the attack again. Billing needs to be doing more there. I'd like to see a little bit more from Billing at the moment. He's not really been involved enough in the game. Southampton gets around our midfield comfortably. Tavernier takes down a man off the ball. Peru, I think it is. Armstrong on the left-hand side going up against Mepham and Tavernier. He beats Mepham, but then Mepham gets back. Lerma on the ball in the box. Tavernier loses out to Lavia, but it goes out for a throw. I think Tavernier did take out Peru off the ball there. Peru off the ball there. But nothing given. Mepham with a throw on the right-hand side, 18 yards out. Billing with the header, reaches Solanke. And Solanke gets it out to Vigna. Good stuff. Vigna tries a long ball in behind to Tavernier, but unfortunately Perot does a good job of getting back and heading it to the keeper. Certainly could hear the Bournemouth fans chanting there, which is good. Need them to stay noisy. To be fair, the away fans are always brilliant for Bournemouth, unless the match is terrible. I remember going to see us play Man United this season, and that was horrible to be in. But if the match is even, if we look like we're playing okay, then the Bournemouth fans in an away match will get loud for the team. That looked a nice bit of play. That looked organised there from ball from back to front, but it ends up in midfield. Rothwell passes it out to Vigna, a little bit slow. Then Vigna stops and puts it inside to Rothwell. Peru is down off the ball, holding his head. Tavernier plays on. He's on the right-hand side, crosses it in. It goes out for a corner. That will be interesting to see in replays. Then we've been better side. They've had a few corners, nothing really to worry about. On quality of chances, I think we're way ahead. I mean, the thing is that obviously the ball that goes in the back of the net from Vigna isn't technically a chance because it was offside. And other than that, we haven't made McCarthy make a save yet. So that's why I'm sort of like, it's been still pretty even. Perot just went down off the ball. There's nothing. I think he just had an injury, and we didn't have to put it out. We're aware. Callum Wilson scoring that one. So him coming out and helping Bournemouth again, which you love to see. And then again, it wasn't a head issue. Just held it, trying to get the break stop. Yep. I think the referee did well to see through the ploy on that one. Walcott has just come on with a piece of paper, giving instructions to Armstrong and Walker Peters. Solanke looking over his shoulder, trying to seeing what's written. But yeah, Walcott trying to give some instructions. I do wonder, it's only 35 minutes gone. I doubt they're going to be making too many like major tactical changes. But I mean, I think Bournemouth have definitely looked the more dangerous. Yeah, I noticed that as well, Ben. That was funny. Right, so I'm guessing Peru is definitely off. Carl Walker-Peters is about to come on. Yeah, Peru's just off, so that'll be Carl Walker-Peters probably going to left back. El Relegatico. I think that's more Saints versus another team in the relegation zone, wouldn't it be? Epic Hash, considering we're not at the moment, but it was always what was it? What was it? El Clasic Host? Did we call it for a while? I think it was called for a little while. And Brian keeping us updated. United 1-0 up against Saints. Loser leaves town. Yeah, wouldn't mind that. Corner comes in. Senesi with a header goes wide. I think there's a lot of Bournemouth fans that wouldn't mind seeing Southampton's cleared out of the Bournemouth area. It used to very much be for quite some time in Bournemouth that you wouldn't see any Bournemouth shirts. You'd only see Southampton shirts. And then we started climbing up the pyramid, and that turned around somewhat. But we were in League One and League Two while they were in the Premier League for a very long time. Yeah, United 1-0 up. It's Spurs. It's not the manager that's messing things up at Spurs. I think at the moment, though, a good manager should turn things around. I would be interested to see if they bring in Hasenhüttl. Southampton on the attack on the right hand side, but they lose it. And then Vigna, what are you doing, man? You cannot be certain that was definitely a Bournemouth throw. Vigna lets the ball go out, but the assistant ref decides that it's a Southampton throw. So El Yunusi has it on the right hand side. There's been a few names bandied about for the non-derby, so anyone to add. Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of the Bournemouth fans that just want to have a rivalry with another team. You don't have to. Your rivalry is with the 19 other teams in the division. You don't need to have you don't need to have a derby. It'd be nice to have one, but you don't have to. And Portsmouth are Southampton's rivals. We're not Southampton's rivals. But if Southampton stay down in the Championship for a while and we still in the Prem for a while, we won't be playing them, so we won't be able to build up that rivalry anymore anyway. That's hopeful thinking. Southampton will have the ball at the back, playing around the keeper between Lavia and WARD-PROWSE and the defenders. Solanke's pressing, trying to force it over to Chaleta. Billings closing him down. Chaleta goes long. Well intercepted by Mepham. Lerma plays it up to Billing, who loses out. WARD-PROWSE, the deepest Southampton player, plays at the keeper, and we reset. Swindon, Reading, and Brighton. All of them are just too far away to be rivals, really. I would have, or to be any kind of derby, I would have thought. And heck, Brighton. Well, I mean, to be fair, Brighton's main rivalry is Palace. So I suppose you don't have to be too close to be worried too much about making a derby out of an opponent. Lavia terms Rothwell really well there, but Rothwell, I thought he might have got away with that one, but no, definite foul. Rothwell needs to be careful though. Lavia's fast. He cannot be letting him just get ahead of him like that. And Lavia clearly pissed off that he was taken out there, but yes, Will. what do we call that for a while? The social media derby. I do think Watford is probably the most natural rivalry we've got. To be fair, that was a weird one. And then we spent a long time without just drawing. Alcaraz fires the ball forward there, nowhere near any of his teammates, and is cleared well by SAINTSFC for a throw. And we spent, like I said, a while just drawing with them, just draw, and then eventually we both got relegated at the same time, didn't we? They went up, then we went up. We've actually missed them for the last few years, and they're not coming up again. So the local match. Yeah, Ben liked that one. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Just keep reminding them of Lerma. Tavernier up against Walker Peters on our right-hand side, deep inside our half. Good job there from Tavernier. Forces it back through WARD-PROWSE and Alcaraz, back to Chileta. 1-2 with Bednarek, back to the keeper. Yeah, doing a good job there if you can take them from your box to their box without any issue. Oh, Rothwell in on Lavia there. He's doing a good job, forcing him to play it long. Yeah, it comes off Rothwell. He's doing. I did say Rothwell needs to be careful about Lavia, because if he turns him, he's gone. But pressed really, really, really well there. Rothwell's definitely a player that I think most Bournemouth fans just didn't expect to really see much of this season after he was injured for basically the whole first half of the season. And he's come in and he's looked undroppable at times. He really has. They got a big win in our first championship. Yes, I remember that one. Yeah, it was Huddersfield. No, was it Huddersfield? I feel it was Huddersfield that wrecked her. And then it was Watford just after. Was it like 5-0 and 5-1 and 6-1? We lost our first 2 games of the championship season. And then obviously the season after that, we beat them. We beat them to the title. We just snipped them to the title with Nuhiu, an honorary cherry from Sheffield Wednesday, getting that goal against Watford in the last game of the season. Solanke just having a foul there against Bednarek on the side, but play is back in and on. A lot of passing around the back from Southampton. They haven't really cut through us since the very early stages, and the 1 or 2 times they've got close, they have been their final ball has been way below par. And we just pass there. We get it back to McCarthy, and he clears it long out of touch. 43 minutes on the clock just hit. And I mean, neither team has made fantastic chances, but Bournemouth have looked more dangerous consistently. I say consistently. They're the one that's looked more likely to score. When Saints have had it, they've just been passing around the back for the most part. Admittedly, Bournemouth have played a lot of... I think have just been better at their long balls as well. That's great work from Kelly. Oh, don't lose it there. And that's not good enough from SAINTSFC. He doesn't reach Christie. Oh, a slip. And then Lerma has the ball, plays it right to Tavernier. Need to see more Tavernier now. Tavernier going up against Walker Peters, who kicks it straight from under his foot because he just lets him kick it. God, am I jinxing everyone at the moment? I was like, need to see more from Tavernier, and then massively fluffs his lines. Over with Billing on the right-hand side. Lord, I thought he was going to play as Lerma, but doesn't. Then Mephem's on the ball, plays it to Tavernier. Tavernier making the cross to Christie, misses it. There's appeals waved away for a handball. It's never going to be given for that. Maitland-Niles. I mean, it might have hit his arm, but he's putting it close to his. Yeah, I mean, No. It hits his chest and then his knee. It doesn't even touch his hands. I don't know what they're asking for there. No, it's nice try, Ben, but no, that's never a handball. I think that's. I mean, we would. To be fair, it doesn't matter what it's for. I'll take a penalty. Anything to get us a penalty. Still haven't had one this season. Can you believe that we're the only team that hasn't had a penalty this season? Or at least that's better than Liverpool, because we're not the only team to fail to score from a penalty this season. Because Liverpool have had two, and Salah's missed them both. Billing with a cross in straight down the throat of McCarthy. He plays it quickly out wide to Walcott, but Rothwell's right on him, and yep, Rothwell managed to get the ball out for a throw. Rothwell's having a really good game at the moment. The only time he's let Lavia past him, he's fouled him. And everyone else, he's basically won the ball off, or at least managed to force it away from them. So I think Rothwell's having a good game at the moment. Need to see more from the right-hand side. Need to see more from Billing and Tavernier. They're not getting on the ball enough, and when they do, they're not doing anything with it. It's disappointing. And Southampton, yet again, passing the ball around at the back. Walker-Peters tries a longer ball. To be fair, that reaches Walcott, who's offside. That's two offsides already from Walcott. 46 minutes, 20 seconds. 1 minute 40 left of the... Oh, that's so poor from Walcott. Kelly's a yard behind the rest of the line, and Walcott is still offside for a good few seconds before the pass is then played. It's not good enough from him. Neto on the ball. 1 minute and 15 to go before half-time. Long kick. Bounces down to Lerma, who plays the ball into the channel wide. Maitland-Niles hammers it clear. I mean, Maitland-Niles is not a defender, so we should be trying to do more to maybe attack that to attack down our left-hand side. Hello, John. Who's had the best half? Bournemouth have, but not by much. It's not been great from either side for the most part, but Southampton are not getting forward as much as they need to. They really aren't. But then Bournemouth, when they get into Southampton's third, haven't done enough with it either. We have had the ball in the back of the net. We were only an inch away from getting a goal, but it was correctly ruled out for offside. Brooks maybe on 55. We're going to come back, beefing up that right-hand side, cutting in. Perhaps, but I don't know. Would you take... I'm not sure Christie's been bad enough to be worthy of taking... Oh, well done, Christie, there. Mentioned. That's got to be a throw. Christie's been better than... Oh. Christie's... And there's half-time. Christie's been better than Solanke. Solanke. Christie's been better than Billing. So I'm not entirely sure that I would be taking off... I don't want to take off Billing, and I'm not sure Christie's worthy of taking off, so I don't know whether I'd take off... I'm not sure I'd take off either of them for Brooks. But maybe. I mean, at 55, you could do. I'd give it a little bit longer, maybe. But hello again, AFC Bournemouth Germany. Thank you for meeting us. Will Saint for Ouattara. If Tavernier isn't doing enough, then yes. The good news is that Tavernier's not really done much this half. He's done okay defensively, but Ouattara also does his work defensively as well. So if Tavernier's not doing enough, it's very like for like, and you would think you'd want to change things up a little bit more. But you could easily throw Ouattara in for Tavernier in his place. Would I take a point? Absolutely, I'd take a point. I have gone for a 1-1. If it's 0-0, I don't mind either. In fact, 0-0 is probably better. I would, to be honest, as long as Newcastle wins. Well, do I have some good news for you? Newcastle are winning, so that's good. Thank you for joining us, John. Keep in touch if you fancy it. Pint, yes. I will be getting a drink shortly, and taking a quick loo break. Nick, tense. If it's like this sitting at home, let's hope we don't need anything at Goodison. I was in U-Field tents at home. Because I was going to say, because we're not at home. We're at Southampton. We don't have as much pressure to necessarily really go for it. If anything, I would like us to try and encourage Southampton to come onto us a little bit more so that we can counter them. Because the only time we put in a decent counter was when they had a corner. Yep, absolutely Everton are losing. Thank you, John. Thanks for sticking around. Love to have another John joining the chat. Rob, come on, lads, let's dig in. I think we're digging in okay. I would just like us to then throw that at them a little bit more. Then another point against Leeds, and I think a big step towards safety. I think, look, a win from any of these two next games, and I think we're safe. I honestly think we're safe. But 2 draws, I think, would also be pretty darn good. Sean, it's amazing to me that they don't get told when it's pouring. It's down to take a few extra long shots, but we seem to determine to the perfect goal. Yeah. I'm struggling to think of too many chances where we have, because basically every shot we've taken has been blocked, apart from the Solanke and Vinya chance that went to a goal. But Solanke fired it straight to the keeper as well there, but he's offside, obviously. I love it when that would make my day. Good news. I hope so for you, Tony. Rob, Vinya has to keep attacking. Well, we need Tavernier to attack as well. Have we had a shot on target yet? I was just about to say yes, but I don't think we have. I think our only shot on target is a cross. Statistics. No. 6 shots, 3 off target, 3 blocked. So, no, Keith, we have not had a shot on target yet. All our last fixtures, we have lost all. Yeah, apart from Everton, we've lost them all. So, but then I don't really take too much from that. It's. You should only really look at that as if it was like a disaster of a match, the flip side. And to be honest, to the 2-0 away from the aways against Chelsea and United were both awful, but we're in much better form than we are. We were in bad form before those games as well, and we actually have a plan now. We didn't really have a plan when we were playing those games before. Right, okay, it's half time. I need to take a loo break, and I'm going to get a drink. So, please do stick around, and I will see you in, 4 minutes or so, 4 or 5 minutes. Back in a bit. So, welcome back. How are people feeling then? Let's have a look at the comments that I have missed. AFC Bournemouth Germany, watching the game on German Sky, and the comments are saying Southampton is so much better than the Cherries. I mean, it has been. I'd say it's been pretty even. I'm not entirely sure what you'd be looking at to imply that Southampton are definitely doing so much better than Bournemouth. That's a weird one. Keith, well, let's leave it until Sunday and send these down. I wouldn't mind that either. Sean, overall, we've seen the better team, but you can easily see our defensive weaknesses, which is alarming. In moments, yes, but I mean, to be fair, it's not like we've looked like conceding. There are moments when you say, that player looks like he's finding a pocket. So I think right at the start of the match, within the first sort of 5 to 10 minutes, Alcaraz picked up the ball occasionally in between the defence and midfield, and you're thinking someone needs to go with him from defence, because he can't be allowed to just pick the ball up and turn. But that never happened again for the rest of the half. So, and Theo Walcott can't stay on side. So I don't know. It's not consistently alarming at all, I would say. All the way sides winning so far tonight. Let's make it a clean sweep. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. John a draw since Southampton now. I mean, all but. What have we got here? Agree in one sense, Ray, but also I've not felt nervous when they were attacking since the first corner, and how poor it was. But yeah, I mean, there is that. And wasn't their first corner we counter-attacked from and nearly had a really good, and Tavernier took a shot that was blocked. It was their first or second. Definitely makes it very difficult with them. Plus, I'd love it if we could finally be a whole division above them. Not sure if it's ever happened. Yeah, definitely not in yours or my lifetime, I would have said. John, true, we've always been the poor neighbours. Yeah, well, I mean, they'll always come back and say that Southampton fans were putting money in buckets to help save the club, back when we were in the worst position. Well, were they doing that? Well, they certainly made us friendly. They had a preseason friendly with us basically every season to help get us some money. Thank you, John. I reckon your German commentator is far better informed than a British commentator would be talking about Bochum versus Bertha. Bochum versus Bertha? Bochum versus Hertha. But he's still right, yeah. John, if you want to go around Southampton putting up adverts, inviting the DC to watch Prem football through the 80s and 90s. Surprised he's 18. Yeah, putting Leeds 18th at the moment, because Nottingham Forest won, so did that drop Leeds into the relegation zone? I wouldn't be surprised. To be honest, I haven't looked below 16th for a while. Note Leeds are 16th. Need Leicester and Everton and Forest to go above them, but I wouldn't mind seeing Leeds in 18th. Oh. I did. I took your advice, Ben, and got a pint. I mean, it's a fruity cider, so it's not exactly hardcore, but something just to keep me going as the throat's starting to feel a little sore. Because if it keeps going any worse, I might have to end the stream. So your prediction? Oh right, okay. So it was a typo. You're predicting Forest 18th, Everton 19th, Southampton 20th. I certainly think it'll be Forest and Southampton. As for the last place, my money is still on Leeds. I do think that Everton will drag out enough draws and Leeds will concede too much. But Everton aren't exactly scoring. I think Leicester will get out of it, just about. But I don't know. I think that third place is still very much up for grabs. I thought Forest would get out of it for many a week, actually, and then they just didn't. I'm now actually realising I've been chatting and talking so long, I need to load this back up, because the team should be coming out shortly. Right. Yeah, they're not out yet. Were they? Oh no, they're on the way back out. Very quickly, let me just bring up. Let me just bring this up very quickly. So this is the momentum bar, and it does have Southampton very much having the better of things up until about halfway through the half. Then Bournemouth taking over with a little bit of Southampton towards the end, and they did start getting back into it, but it was Bournemouth for a long time. As for the stats, we've got just the one shot on target between us. Southampton just about edge possession, which is good for us because we like I said, we haven't won a game where we have had less possession when we have had more possession than our opponent. And if we score at any point, then I'd imagine that's very definitely going to stay the same. More corners, more offsides, and more fouls from Southampton. Hit the woodwork twice. I missed one of those. Senesi headed it against his own bar, but I don't remember it hitting the woodwork after that. Outside of that. Had the better with the counter-attacks, more shots inside the box. Yeah, it's still relatively even. Relatively. Come on. My connection's dying on me. Just as the second half is about to kick off. Or at least for me, it's just about to kick off. I'd imagine it already has kicked off live. Come on. Ah, dear. I am having technical difficulties, unfortunately, and my stream does not want to work. Oh, come on. Oh, what wonderful content this is. There we go. Finally. God, that took ages. Okay, so. Ooh. Right. Joining just in time for Senesi to also drop his keeper into a bit of trouble. But yeah, I'm same at you. Same as you, Ben. I'm on 47 now. So WARD-PROWSE off. Oh. Well, that's good. Very interesting. I did see that. I was hearing from the commentators that there was a change in shape, but obviously I missed the start of the. Oh, whoops! I'm just realizing I've got to get. Got to change this to this. There we go. It is second half. I was hearing that there was a change in shape. With I think they've put on whoever the number 4 is. I believe is a centre back. I'm waiting to see if I can catch the name, or I will just look it up because that would be more sensible. WARD-PROWSE came off for Lianco. There it is. We've now got Billing on the ball. My internet is really messing with me at the moment. I'm getting a lot of buffering. Lloyd Kelly pushes forward on the left-hand side. Back to Vigna and with Lerma. Rothwell putting the ball in behind. Oh dear. I'm getting a lot of buffering, so this is very frustrating. If there's anything I can switch off that I'm not using. Yeah, my performance is all over the place at the moment. I do think it's my internet. Speed keeps dropping. Hopefully I don't have too many more issues like this again. It's just stabilized a little bit now, which is good. So sorry about the lack of content. I've had a lot of buffering. Solanke pushes forward. Tavernier on the right-hand side, just getting into the box. Can he? Oh, it's buffered again. Oh dear. Oh, there you go. Goal. That's so annoying that my internet's not holding up at the moment. But the ball has hit the back of the net. And it looks like it's Tavernier with the goal. So I'm hoping my stream holds up while this pushes forward. So Solanke pushes out to the right-hand side. Tavernier comes inside. Still Tavernier, still Tavernier, still Tavernier, still Tavernier. How the hell does the keeper not save that? That just trickles just below it. But that has been coming for... Well, I say it's been coming. Bournemouth have looked like the better side for the most part. Maybe not, Brian. I don't know. We'll have to wait for the lads to decide that. If we beat Leeds, I'm definitely not showing up on Monday or Tuesday. But yes, there is the goal. There's no we need to worry about offsides with that one as well. Chicken dance. Yeah, I don't know whether it was just the stream and you had issues there as well, Ben. But we have a goal. Yeah, love it from Tavernier. Oh, that's lovely. Bournemouth get a free kick just outside our own half. Just got to cut John's internet 9 more times for 10. I don't think so. I hope my stream just. To be fair, if my stream holds up and then it just cuts every time we score and it cuts another couple times, I'll take that. A sip for the goal. And that puts Southampton 6 points off safety and puts Bournemouth 7 points away from the relegation zone. I honestly think 36 is enough. I honestly think 36 will be enough. Oh, Solanke just gets past Lavia again. He's pushing forward. He's trying to reach Christie, but doesn't get there. Well, I mean, Seles's plan clearly hasn't worked. He's made a change at half-time, and Bournemouth have scored within 6 minutes. Lerma with a bad pass there, cut out by Maitland-Niles. And then Armstrong can't get us past Mepham. Mepham putting in another solid, quiet display. You love to see it. Tavernier beats Walker-Peters, lays it off to Billing. Billing on the right-hand side, cuts in, laying it off to Vigna. Nope. Southampton player puts it through to Solanke. Solanke tries to take on a man, doesn't get there. Tavernier's won it back. Tavernier again. Christie. Christie takes a shot, it's blocked. Vigna's pushed off it by Armstrong. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Vigna's got to get up and carry on, but Rothwell gets in the way of Armstrong, forces it out. I wouldn't be surprised to see Solanke get another goal involvement. He's got an assist. I mean, Tavernier did all the work, but Solanke has an assist. I would not be surprised to see Solanke get another goal or assist with the way that he is seeming to just have no issues with the Southampton defence. I see a lot of winnable games though. As far as attracting players in the summer, a late run to genuine mid-table makes it a lot more attractive. Yeah, I tell you what, Ben, I was this close to trying to find a way to put a bet on Bournemouth having more points than Chelsea come the end of the season. I was so close to putting that bet on, and I reckon if I put that on a week ago when I was thinking about it, I would have got decent odds for it. But I just thought if I do that, I'm jinxing it, so I'm just gonna not bother. We're talking about we're going through derbies, are we? St. Pauli versus that's Hamburg, isn't it? HSV. I think that's Hamburg. Yeah, St. Pauli have got this weird thing they do really well of just advertising themselves. I've heard of St. Pauli for plenty of times, but I've never seen them kick a ball. I think they are German second division though, aren't they? Chesterfield, Mansfield. Biggest derby in football. Rangers versus Celtic is nothing compared to this derby. God, well, I mean, Southampton can't even fill the stadium with at the moment, so that's a hell of a claim. I was right. Right, okay. Oh, lovely pass from Mepham's just completely bisected the midfield there with that ball into Billing to Tavernier, back to Billing. Christie's got to keep hold of that so that he can play someone in. Christie still. Blocked. Another shot, blocked. Tavernier to Billing, back to Tavernier. Back to Billing, still Billing. He's in the area. He's going for the shot. That's got to be a corner. If Bournemouth don't score another goal in this game, I think I'll be very disappointed. If Bournemouth don't score another goal in this game, I'll be very disappointed. I do think Christie probably should have just passed that to Billing when he was almost taken out by Maitland-Niles. In the end, he just kept going, shot with his right foot. It was blocked quite comfortably, but Rothwell just barely has the ball overhanging the quadrant there. Oh, no, my freaking stream again. If we score again. It's a Bournemouth corner that I'm missing. No, it didn't. Okay. Lerm with the cross on the right-hand side. Decent ball in, but no one there to meet it. And Christie gets it back. Oh, lovely 1-2s there. Lerma cuts it back to Tavernier. Tavernier to Solanke. Solanke trying to set up Rothwell, but it gets intercepted by Chaleta Sarr. And then Solanke takes out Labia. How does he not get a yellow card for that? Billing hit everything to fall, isn't it? When my German team lost their derby defensive out of the away section. I'm glad we don't do that over here. Or at least we haven't for a good few decades. But the hardcore fans in Italy and Germany are something else. Oh, lovely ball up to Christie. Christie, he needed to play that through to Solanke immediately, and he took a ton of touches. Dom Torot, I know Chaleta Sarr does really well to intercept that. Chaleta Sarr's a player that if Southampton go down, we should be looking at. I think he's a pretty darn decent defender. Depends if we keep Stevens or not. I'm not all that bothered about whether we keep Stevens. Tottenham 2-0 down. You'd love to see it. Billing through to Solanke. Solanke, yeah. They're just the Southampton defense just cannot keep a hold of. Oh yeah, managed. Hey, because of that, I managed to get to the repeat fixture, but that was weird. My German team has gathered 267,000 euros worth of fans for all the pyrotechnics they've. What? Over a quarter of a million euros in pyrotechnics. That's ridiculous. Oh, fines. Right, okay. And Christie gets a corner. Christie's just hammered the ball as a cross, maybe a shot. It's come off Bednarek, and he is adamant it should be a handball. If this is the game we get our first handball corner, I tell you what, Lerma got a penalty given against him at Newcastle for less than that. And we don't get shit. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't swear, should I? But we don't get anything for that. But Lerma, the corner's taken in and goes ahead of Vigna. Vigna fluffs his shot, ends up at Rothwell. Rothwell heads it back to Kelly, and Kelly over to Tavernier. Tavernier cross comes in and ends up with Yanko, who clears it. Lerma doesn't want to let it bounce. Tavernier has the ball again and plays it to Kelly. Earlier in the season, that would have been given. I think nowadays that's just not. Solanke running inside. Solanke keeps going, lays it off to Lerma. Lerma gives it back to Solanke. Solanke on the right-hand side tries to put it in the box. We are all over them. All over them. Interesting to see. Hello, Luke. Nice of you to join us. I love to see this. I love this formation. You realize that's a back three. The amount of frustration, anger, and vile language on Twitter for when Bournemouth have been setting up in a back three this season. To see you say you love this formation just tickles me. I also do. I mean, we don't have a left back if Vigna goes back, and obviously Zamora's leaving, we won't have a left back. We need to sign two because I don't want Kelly playing left back anymore. He's not good enough at it. So we need to sign two left backs, and I would love us to keep Vigna. Yep, double change for them. I kind of missed it. I saw the other Armstrong coming on. I didn't see what the other change was, so I will just have a look and see what that was. That was El Yanusi and Walcott off for Che Adams and Stuart Armstrong. So that's... They're still playing with a back three. They're probably matching us now with a 3-4-3, I would reckon. Yeah, I think it does. I do think that if we had a more specialised right wing back, it would work better. To be honest, if we're playing in a back five with a back three with wing backs, I'd rather have Stacey at right wing back, really. But Tavernier, I'd want Tavernier in the squad, and the only place he really fits is right wing back. So I don't have an issue at all with Tavernier playing there. But I would like a genuine right winger or right footer on the right hand there. Southampton with one of the first forays forward of the half. Maitland-Niles with the crossing gets blocked and headed out, and the ball gets whacked clear. Do I want to keep going Gary Nilsson next season? Yes, I do. I do think that if we stay up, he deserves to stay. I don't think it would be fair I don't think it'd be fair for him to succeed and for us to go, thank you, we're going to pay off the rest of your contract the second year, and we'll go and find a more experienced manager. But when you're down at the bottom like we are, when you're fighting at the bottom, if you've got something that's working, don't change it. Look, Smith cannot be a right wing back. He is not good enough. I mean, okay, he doesn't have the energy to go up and down the box. He's actually got the quality. He's got a good delivery. He doesn't have enough energy to go up and down anymore. I think he's too old for it. He works better as a right centre back. That's not to say I wouldn't want to keep Smith in the team and keep him as a right back or as a right centre back. I don't think he can play right wing back in this system. You need to have a lot of pace to be able to initiate the counter attacks. You need to have a lot of energy to be able to do that all game. And Smith can't do that anymore. He just doesn't have it in his legs anymore. Like I said, he's got the quality, but he doesn't have the stamina, I don't think, or the pace. Unlike the likes of Tavernier and let's say Stacey or Fredericks. This is with reference to Zabani, isn't it? Well, because our other centre backs are playing well, and Zabani's been injured for so long. He'll be like a number of players that join clubs in January. They don't get much of a chance, and then in the summer, when they have the opportunity to gel with the team, then they'll take their opportunity. That's got to be a yellow for Senesi there, dragging down Armstrong. Yeah, there's a yellow card. Hello, John. Another John. Love to have more Johns joining. Up the Cherries from Atlanta, USA. Lovely to have someone else viewing from across the pond. Yes, being well stocked at centre back. Coming back from injury, yeah, that's the point I made. Smith will probably retire within the next season or two and end up staying as part of the coaching staff. To be honest, I like the way that we do things. I would gladly have him staying around as coaching staff. I really would. Ball into the box. Billing doing his great work at the back post there. And again, what was that interview Billing did recently? He doesn't like to head the ball, but he will if he has to. And that point, he had to twice in a row. Armstrong on the right-hand side. Ball in with his left. Kelly heads it wide, and Lerma's there to get it first. Oh, that's a good counter-attack opportunity if we can keep the ball. And Southampton got away with that one. That was almost a 2-on-1, 2-on-0 maybe almost. And then they're working it round. Armstrong on the right-hand side. Ball into the box. It reaches the other Armstrong, and Neto claims it easily. It depends on the match. I mean, I understand that, but you don't really like his height at right. I wouldn't like his height at right back either, but you kind of just have to accept it. Yeah, that break should have been better. Lerma should have played the ball quicker, and then we would have really been in. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work. Probably Spurs. I think he'll probably go to Spurs or Prowse. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, lovely ball from Christie into Solanke, but it's a little bit behind him, and he gets tackled by Walker-Peters. Solanke's being a little bit slow now. That's one of those moments where Solanke just does not move his feet quickly enough and loses it far too easily. He needs to do better than that. Armstrong plays it into Alcaraz, who goes down far too easily and handballs again. That's the second time he's gone down over nothing and handballed it. He should be booked for that. He really should have been booked for that. It's stupid from Alcaraz. He's clearly a boy with a lot of talent. But oh, actually, that was a foul. Walker-Peters on Solanke. Walker-Peters didn't get the ball. That was a foul. Yeah, that's what we were talking about with Zabani. I mean, this is what you need to be doing. You need to be giving him opportunities to come on and sort of get more involved with the team. Senesi is on a yellow card. I don't dislike this call whatsoever. I think it's a sensible one. You just get Zabani in, allow him to keep being involved in the squad, give him a bit of game time, and don't risk Senesi. Senesi is probably our most important centre-back, I would say. That's what I would claim. I would say he's our most important because he's the best ball player at the back that we've got. And his passing from the back is such a good weapon. You need to have him when he's necessary. But in a game like this, I think we're just happy to just be a little bit more cautious on the ball, not go too hard, and play sensibly. Alan, yeah, all going well at the moment, mate. Even though it's a good right wing back, I think his best position further forward later. I wouldn't say I want. To be fair, he played as a number 8 for Middlesbrough, so he definitely could play more centrally. But he's very versatile because he's got a skill set that he's comfortable on the ball, he's good on the dribble, he works hard defensively. He can play almost anywhere in midfield. I would prefer him as probably a right winger. I don't think I want him as a 10. I'd want him to be on the right-hand side, coming inside on his left foot, trying to dribble it past people. But he works really well as a wing-back because he's got the pace, the work rate, and he can counter well. Armstrong on the ball, tries to play it through to Maitland-Niles, and he goes straight out of play. Good pressing. I'm glad you agree, Ben. I am looking forward to seeing more of Zabarnyi. He apparently, if he's truly as highly rated as people have sort of claimed, I could see Senesi Zabarnyi being our set back two for the entirety of next season. But if you're going to have a ball player like Senesi on the left, you want to have a proper, good old-fashioned centre back on the right to sort of balance it up, and that's Mepham. For me, I think Mepham has been one of the most underrated players for us this whole season by a mile. Stevens comes in, has a good few games, and people forget about Mepham. As I'm sorry, Stevens has made way more mistakes than Mepham has. Yeah, that would have been fun. I was actually thinking about that earlier this season. I was thinking, you know what? I wouldn't mind bringing in James and having him playing at right wing back, because those two down the right-hand side would actually be really quite good, I think. And plus, hell of a set-piece taker. We've struggled with that all season. Again. Oh, Kelly. Flipping heck. We don't want to be giving them a chance. That's a couple of times now our centre backs have played it back to the keeper and almost dropped us in it. I mean, I say another goal would be lovely, Alan. But to be fair, do we want to go? Oh, hang on. It's a bit Rothwell taking the shot from range, and it's a good save. I think he probably could have laid that off to Tavernier. Bear in mind, we've lost enough 2-goal leads this season, Alan. Agreeing. When people talk about player of the season, I always thought Mepham deserved a mention. Absolutely does. He hasn't got enough game time to properly be in the conversation, I think. But I think he has been as close to faultless as you could possibly be this season. And the mistakes he has made has been in games where I don't think it's really mattered. Whereas I think Stevens has made a few mistakes that have really cost us points. Does anyone know what type of defender Zabarnyi is like? Old-fashioned, no-nonsense, ball-playing centre-half? I think he's somewhere in between. I honestly don't know. I have no idea. But he's young, so I don't think... he's young, so he's still got a lot to learn, so I wouldn't put him anywhere near a good old-fashioned centre-back. Because the way that he will have come through the system, there's no way he's just a kick-it-long kind of player. He's going to have a decent amount of technical ability on the ball, which Mepham does as well. Mepham is decent on the ball, but don't want him to be put under too much pressure, because that's when he makes his mistakes. I like Mepham as I have a 1% chance of giving the ball away. I'm going to whack it clear. I like Mepham being that no-nonsense, get it in Rosed player, because when he just defends, he's really, really good at it. When he's asked to play make, when he's asked to be on the ball, that's when I worry about him. And he hasn't had to do that for 2 seasons. And he's been brilliant as a result. John, thank you very much, John. When you first get out there and just be someone that puts your opinions out on the internet and is recorded, it takes a bit to sort of get over doubts about whether you actually know anything about what you're talking about. But I've got the confidence to just sit and talk to you for 2.5 hours at this point now. Well, providing we stay up, are there any players you would like to see move on? I'm not that fussed about keeping Stevens. I think we've got enough depth at centre back, and if we did bring another one in, I probably would like it to be a promise. I think there were probably better players that we could bring in, probably even on the free transfer. But Stevens I wouldn't have any issue with Stevens being brought back in. I just think we could probably look a bit higher. Stevens is a relegation battling defender. I would like to have someone that's maybe got a bit more about him than that. Fredericks, I'm not that asked about keeping. Kiefer Moore, I wonder whether Kiefer Moore will want to stick around. I'd like to keep him just as a plan B, but I don't think we've been using him very well when he's been coming on for large periods of this season. And he obviously doesn't suit our play, so he's an entirely plan B player. But if he sticks around, I wouldn't have any issue. Any other players that I would want to see moved on? I'll tell you who I don't want to see moved on, Ben Pearson. Because if Lerma goes, Pearson is the replacement. We have him already. We don't need to look beyond that. We can use our money elsewhere. We can use our money on fullbacks and wingbacks. We don't need a Lerma replacement. We have one. He's called Ben Pearson. So I'd like to see him stick. But to be honest, there's not too many I'd like to see moved on. What I would say about Bournemouth as a club in our time in the Premier League is we don't move on enough players. We tend to just keep the squad completely together, and then just occasionally someone will run out of contract and they'll leave. And we'll keep bringing in players that flop and then move them on, like Brad Smith. Well, to be fair, that's most of the time he's been from Liverpool, bar Dom Solanke. I don't know. There needs to be a little bit of refresh in the squad, without a doubt. You have to sign 4 or 5 players in the summer and maybe lose 2 or 3. I'm not sure who those will be, but as I mentioned, there's a couple that I wouldn't be too disappointed to see the back of. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to wait and see. I'd have to evaluate it. Rothwell in the Southampton box, back to Vinya, over to Christie. Christie puts it in and sends it straight out of play. I haven't talked about the game all this time. Southampton have attacked a few times and they've never looked like scoring. It's been quite nice. Was it Brentford game when he made his big mistake? Yes, and he was being played at left centre back. And I talked for a long time about just keep Mepham at right centre back where he's comfortable and don't ask him to do too much. And then he ended up playing left centre back against Fulham. I think it was. Was it Fulham? He was playing on the left and Stevens on the right, and he had 2 years of building confidence, and he looked so capable. And it was a pleasure to see him be on his unnatural side and still have a great game. But yes, it was that Brentford game where he messed up, and most of the Bournemouth fan base seemingly wanted him dead. There was that much vitriol about him. I felt so sorry for him. He's been in his about 10 years, has shed loads of caps for VPRs and clash from Joshua. Yeah, there is that, and you're absolutely right. I didn't mention that he does have almost 24 caps for Ukraine, I think. Bournemouth pushing on there. Tavernier. Oh crap! Tavernier's hamstring's gone. That might be a yellow card for Lerma. Yep, that's Lerma's taken out of man. Yeah, that's Tavernier off. Tavernier's hamstring's just gone. That's not good. We need to win this game now, because to be fair, Ouattara is the ready-made replacement. I'd imagine he'll come off, but that's not good. Yeah, let's playing with him against Brentford. It was a mistake for me. I mean, the reality of it is they didn't need to make the challenge, because even if Brentford had scored, it would have been 1-1. We would have been a man up, and we would have had enough time to keep it going. I forgive him. He lost his man. Did he cause a rescue shoot? He's so early. Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, he did make the mistake, because, as I was saying, he was being asked to play a game that I feel is going to encourage him to make mistakes. But when he is just told, don't mess about with the ball, play it simple with 2 touches, and if you're in trouble, get rid of it. And he's Premier League quality. It's as simple as that. More feels like Glenn Murray all over again, so we would really place his strength. Yep, absolutely. As I mentioned, he is a Plan B player. And to be fair, I think that given his age, I do wonder whether he's that asked about dropping down to the Championship to get regular game time. He came to Bournemouth initially in the Championship, probably expecting to be second choice behind Solanke, and then obviously ended up getting injured immediately and getting 4 goals in 60 minutes after joining us. 2-0 for Newcastle. That's lovely news. I'd tell you what, it's actually 3-0. I've just had a look, and we have Joe Linton and Callum Wilson with a second one, so it's actually 3-0. Rothwell's looking at the game tonight. Yeah, I mentioned in the first half, he's done really well to lock down Lavia for long parts. Tab off with Smith. Okay, fair enough. Right wing back, why not? Play a little bit more defensive. No issues there. It's waiting massively long-term doubtful effect tonight. Yeah, indeed. We're 1-0 up, so I'd imagine you're just picking the more defensive option. And you can rely on Vinya to be the attacking one. Because to be fair, Vinya can essentially play as a left winger, and we can make it a back 4, because Kelly can play at left back. So I would say it's the fact that we're 1-0 up. We don't need to be aggressive on this. We have the players like Vina on the left can make that counter-attacking burst. Solanke's had a fantastic game. And just there, he wriggles away from 2 players and wins a free kick. Solanke's had a brilliant game. I do feel as though Solanke will always have better games against worse teams, just because he can absolutely destroy a weak-willed defense. But if it's an organized, if he goes up a one-on-one battle with someone that's a bit stronger than him, he struggles. But in this game, he can outmuscle and outsprint basically all of Southampton centre backs. So he's having a brilliant game. It's as simple as that at times. Yes, Wilson scored. He's got 2 tonight now, which makes him Newcastle's outright top scorer, 2 ahead of Almiron. Kelly with a long ball upfield goes straight out. Okay. I'll catch the highlights after this game. Oh, for those that are going to stick around, once the game is over, I'm going to put a little bit of an advert up, and Kirk has asked me to basically do a sort of a 10-minute review of the game so that we can put that up as a separate video a bit later. Oi, 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 oi. Oh, there was an offside. Oh, God, that scared me the hell out there. That was weird. Ball long. I think it was Abani left it for Neto, and Neto went to volley it first time rather than just picking the ball up. Che Adams is offside. Oh, no, it was Mepham. Mepham was leaving it. Oh, that was it. Mepham leaves it for the keeper, but doesn't know that Che Adams is coming to attack it. He thinks the keeper's got plenty of time, but Neto has to try and kick it. However, Che Adams is offside, so it doesn't really matter. So let's calm the heart rate back down, bring it back from 150 to back down to 140. Yeah, I'll stop for a second. just for a second. Yeah, 10 minutes to go. I barely mentioned the game in the second half. It's been fun. This is what I like the most about watch-alongs, is in the second half, there's enough people just asking me questions. I love to just chat about I love just chatting about Bournemouth players and my opinions on them. Wilson from Bournemouth, Almiron from Atlanta United. Yes, the one proper, I say proper, I suppose the one truly successful MLS export so far, Almiron. Not that there haven't been Americans that have done well, particularly in Germany. There's plenty that come through in Germany, but there's that pathway for some reason. American players just go to Germany quite often after Landon Donovan. I don't know whether he's the first, but he was certainly successful at it. Oh, that was close. Foul given there. But Jack Harrison had a loan out on the MLS as well, of course. Was a Man City product at the time. Now he's at Leeds. I can't remember where he played. But I know he went to the MLS. 82 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. Still Southampton 0, AFC Bournemouth 1. Armstrong just getting past Vina there. Ball in behind to make the Niles. Kelly getting in the way. Well done. And Mepham whacks that clear. Mepham whacks that clear. Yeah, Mepham looks like Mepham has been the central centre back, and Zabani who's playing a right centre back, I think, since he's come on. About this time, Newcastle stuck some red socks in the wash. Clearly, they want red and black instead. The American goalie could play for Everton. Yes. I don't think you're talking about Howard, because I think he was only there for a season. He was mostly at United. Tim Howard. Who was the other one? He played till he was like 40. Played for Spurs as well, if I remember correctly. But I don't think. I'm not sure as to say he was like an MLS product. I think he was I mean, he played most of his time in England, so. Agreed out Almada, watch out for the new Messi Thiago Almada. Also Atlanta United. Okay. I will have to keep an eye out on that one. 3-1 there. So Everton pulled a goal back. Fair enough. Friedel, there you go. Brad Friedel. That was it. That's the man I was thinking of. He played until he was like 40. Like Everton and Spurs. Was it Everton and Spurs? I think it was Everton and I know it was Spurs. Was Everton as well? I know Tim Howard obviously played for Everton. I think that was just for a year on loan from United. Or was it 10 years? Which club am I thinking then? I'm sure Howard ended up taking like a year on loan somewhere before leaving United. I'm probably thinking of a different keeper. Yes. Although Tim Howard, I think, was more of a product of MLS. I don't know why I feel as though I don't know well enough going that far back. That's like a decade and a half back in the Prem. I wasn't quite so into my football back then. Just about to tick into 85 minutes gone, and Southampton have had. Right. I was correct. It was a loan first, and then he stayed there permanently. Right. Okay. So I was correct, kind of. Ish. Short corner that boys need to wake up for. Played in, and Billing does brilliantly there. Vigna on Lavia. Oh, stupid from Vigna. Oh, he's got a yellow for that as well. Flipping heck. I do wonder why WARD-PROWSE was taken off. When he's your top scorer, and by quite a way. Oh, that's so stupid from Vigna. Weird. We don't really want to be allowing them more and more set piece opportunities, but Stuart Armstrong is over this one. On Bournemouth's left-hand side, 30-odd yards out. Here it comes off the right foot, at the back post, headed back in, not met by Lavia. Dealt with by cleared out by Zabani. He gets close to the follow-up, and that's a terrible ball in. Time. No, Smith heads it wide anyway. And now it's back to Southampton. Walker-Peters on the left-hand side. Ball into the box. Che Adams in behind. Kelly pressing him well. Smith is now next to Walker-Peters. Sorry, now it's at Walker-Peters. That was at Lavia. Walker-Peters puts it in. Christie heads it out. Solanke chases it down. Alcaraz joggles it around. Then Lerma whacks it clear. Headed back by Bednarek. Then Christie clears it again. And Solanke has it. It's 1-on-2. And he thinks he's hit it against Bednarek, but the ref disagrees. A 4-1 now. Who scored that one? I'm not going to check. I'm going to keep an eye on the game. Between jump ball and handed commercial, it's a little surprising it says some good keepers. Yeah, we do, Luke, to be fair. But at the same time, Southampton don't look like scoring. No, Tottenham have just scored. So it's 2-1 United against Southampton. Christie has just won the ball nicely and is pulling it out. Done very well there. Just needs to find a man to pass to. He goes back to Zabani. Zabani has the ball and he plays it long into nowhere. Inviting pressure not only because Smudge came on, but defensive definitely contributes to an extent. Yep. Oh, Isak, he's a hell of a player. Isak, he really is one hell of a player. There's no doubt about that. I do agree with that, Ben. But I do think that we just sat back a lot more and just invited it on from Southampton. Armstrong in the box, gets round Rothwell, and it's through, and it's goal, is it? Yeah, goal. And That's frustrating. That's us not doing well enough to deal with Armstrong. And at the same time there, I do think that Che Adams somehow ends up in all that space in the middle of the box, and Mepham and Kelly don't sort that out between them. He's on. That's okay. That's a Mepham mistake. I do think he's not offside. No, I would say that looks. Wait, is it really offside? That did not look offside to me. That looked very, very close. That did not look offside to me. It looked like Mepham was behind him. Oh my goodness, they've changed. He is. He's going to be offside. Oh my giddy odds! Oh, of all that, and he's offside. It is. It's offside. Oh my word! I do. So there was an issue there, and I think that's part. So let me just put what I think about that in terms of Bournemouth defending, because Bournemouth defending wasn't good enough there. Jay Adams has looked up at the screen and seen it, and he's like, "Look at it, it's onside." No, mate, they've put the lines up. He's not on. Mepham, I think, is not quite taking up the right position in the middle of the box there because he's been playing on the right hand side for an hour. He needs to be a little bit more central there. He's playing a little bit too far right. And when Kelly has to come across because the midfielders failed to stop Armstrong, Mepham doesn't jump towards Che Adams. He needs to get closer to Adams there. That was a Mepham mistake, except for that he just barely didn't put his foot back far enough, so it's offside. So in the end, it's genius. But that was Mepham wasn't covering the space well enough. I say space, he wasn't getting to the man. Che Adams ended up in all that room. That was really poor from us defensively. We've had enough times where VAR has messed this over this season. So it's nice to have one that really goes our way this time. But that's so unfortunate for Southampton. But hey, we'll take that. So, looks like Venus just pulled something going in for a tackle. Ball in from the ankle on the right hand side. Walker Peters to get back in. Kelly heads it out. Lavia with a shot. This is what I do always find incredibly frustrating about Bournemouth generally when we defend deep is you need the defenders to be on the strikers. You need that line to be solid. You need everything to be compact. You don't need the midfielders there as well. You're already outnumbering them in your own box. Why are you putting the midfielders inside your own box when there's 4 opposition players just on the edge of the area waiting for the ball to fall to them? The midfielders always drop too deep for us. I don't mind the defense being that deep. I just don't want the midfielders to all sit deep because you end up with 9 players in the box for no reason. You've got 9 going up against 4 or 5 with another 4 sat outside the box just waiting for the ball to fall to them. With Ouattara coming on for Billing, yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think Billing should have come off about 10, 15 minutes ago. But Moore coming off Solanke is an interesting one. You basically just want to hit Moore and let him drop the ball off to Ouattara or Christie, who need to support him close. Neto taking this time. We are 92 and 42. 2.25 minutes to go. Neto plays it long. Falls to Southampton at the back as they get forward. Ball up the line from Maitland-Niles. That's never reaching a Southampton player. And we'll take that goal kick. That will take more time. Marcus Tavernier apparently getting the BT's player of the match. I think that's only because of the goal. Because personally, I would have given it to Rothwell. I think he's probably been the player that stood out the most. Or Solanke. Solanke's right up there as well. If I was to put the admin's choice of man of the match out, my first three would be Solanke, Tavernier, and Rothwell. And I'm not sure I'd have a fourth. I'm not sure there's really anyone else that stood out necessarily. Maybe one of the defenders. But I'd certainly have those three as my choice of man of the match. If Senesi or Mepham was picked alongside that, I wouldn't complain. Maybe Christie. I think Christie's done a lot of good work, actually. Newcastle 5-1 up now. Well, that's good. We need Everton's goal difference to get worse. So that's a good one for us. Yeah, I think Christie deserved to be in the conversation, actually, now that I think about it. I'd probably have those four. So I'm pushing forward. Ball in the box. Kelly clears it well. I need to reorganize. Rothwell looks like he is dead on his feet. Well, he kind of looked like he was hobbling about for a bit then, but I suppose he's not too bad. Still putting in the work. Terrible clearance. Terrible ball in the box. Cleared well. 5 seconds. But they'll be a little bit longer because of the substitutions. The anchor with the ball. Maitland-Niles on the right-hand side. Dives over, but has already passed it to Armstrong. Don't let him cut inside. Kelly, and then Christie whacks it clear. Surely that's the end of the game now. Can't be more than 10 seconds. Ball long by the keeper. Mepham meets it, heads it out. Rothwell intercepts. Zabani gets at it. Kelly with a brilliant tackle. Vital tackle. Kelly's had a pretty flawless game, to be fair, as well. I think I've had problems with him playing at left back, but as the left side of a back three, he's brilliant. On the left side of a back three, that's exactly where he needs to be. I don't think he can play as a left back, and I don't think he's necessarily good enough as a centre back in a back four. But on the left side of a back three, I think he's brilliant. I think it fits his skill set perfectly. One set piece yet to come in. This should be the last kick of the game. The keeper's up. McCarthy. Mepham's marking the keeper. Ball in the box. No Southampton players in the middle. And it's full time. Oh, yes. As the commentator has just stated, that is our third away win in a row. What were people worrying about? What was I worrying about? Full time. Huge 3 points out of 6. So yeah, looking forward to Leeds as well. Thank you very much, Wayne. Will, proud of the lads, absolutely. I think we're safe. I think we're safe now. I really do think that's enough for us to be safe. Very good way of doing a full time. That's about how the best way you can probably write the classic full time. Peep peep peep. Full time whistle. Yeah, I think that means we're safe. I really do. I do think that means we're safe. I think 36 should be enough. 36 should be enough. I really do think that should be enough. We wrote a little bit. A bit. We definitely did. But we did enough. And I really do think that, yes, obviously they put the ball in the back of the net and it was offside, but so did we. And I think that'll do. I think that'll do it. I really do think that'll do it. And that essentially puts Southampton down. Doesn't mathematically, but that as good as send Southampton down. It really does. Yeah, Luke, you are really loving VAR tonight, aren't you, mate? Jack, I would think the same, but leave 1 to 2 more points would be 100%. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, every point from now on is another step to sort of locking it in. I do think 36 would be enough. Yes, Kirk is. I'm fairly confident Kirk is at the stadium. He won't be joining me tonight, but I'm fairly certain he's at the stadium, and there'll be a vlog up tomorrow morning. I'm sure that should be a good 1 more win to be sure. Safe, yes, but I hope we're doing it on the beach now. I do think momentum matters. Yeah, and I don't think they can allow themselves to sort of think that they're safe because, like, I don't know if you're familiar, but the average position of 18th place in the Premier League, and bearing in mind 17th can be anywhere from the same points to 10 higher, the average amount of points that the 18th placed team finishes with is 33. So the idea that you need the 40 point, the magical 40 point barrier, it doesn't exist. 36 is considerably above that 33 average, and this is an abnormal season. This is a season where the bottom teams are sort of spreading the points out a lot more than usual. So I would personally say that the team can't afford to think they're safe, but I think the fans can now enjoy the rest of the season. And I think that starts with Leeds, because we have a genuinely good chance of beating Leeds and being on 39 points, and then no one will deny that we're safe. At which point, if I bring up the table, why do I keep losing my screen share? Let me bring up my second screen. Right, there we go. There is our table. If I zoom in a little bit further and bring us down to the bottom. There. So Southampton stay on 24 points. 6 points outside the relegation zone with 5 games to go. They're not mathematically down, but they certainly do not look like they're getting anywhere near out of this. Everton stay in 19th after losing to Newcastle, with Leicester having picked up a point midweek as well. Forest outside the relegation after their 3-1 victory against Brighton at home. Well-deserved win, and one they vitally needed. Leeds United also picked up a draw, but that is their first point in 4 games. They're not out of this by any means. West Ham are yet to play their game in hand, which is against Man City. So, don't expect them to get anything from that. But they're on 34, with us now on 36. And then you've got Wolves, Palace, and then just a little bit higher, we could go above Chelsea. Like, we still got to play them at home. We've got a really decent chance of going above Chelsea here. So even though coming back to the comments, AFC Bournemouth Germany, even though I'm fairly sure we are safe, the players shouldn't play that way. No, absolutely not. And I did mention that. I do think that the fans can start enjoying this, I think, but the players absolutely should not be. Should be thinking that they're safe. Also, my Twitter ban is lifted in the next few weeks, so can join back in. Also, new job next week, so we want to make Everton. Oh, God. Good stuff, Ben. Best of luck in the new job. And I've already got tickets to Everton. That's the only game I've got that I can go to for the rest of the season, and I've already got my tickets to Everton. So hopefully I will see you there. Nice to catch up. John, as a Yank, still wrapping my head around the spirit of relegation, celebrating the failure of others. I do think that's quite a British thing, to be fair, John. You ask, that's the difference. That's the difference between a plate shattering in an American restaurant and everyone being concerned, and a plate shattering in a British restaurant, and you hear a group of guys just going, "Way!" We celebrate failure, and we like taking the mick out of. We like in jokey fashion, we like taking the piss out of other people. So yeah, I do think that's a bit more. That is quite the English thing. But then again, to be fair, obviously relegation happens in basically every other major league in the world. It's just MLS doesn't do it, but you don't do it in anything else as well. So Schadenfreude, absolutely. The warm fuzzy feeling you get when other people fail. Luke, on a serious note, I love this formation as long as you have the right players on the pitch and play attacking football and is more of a three at the back. I do think that we have enough strength in depth in a back three. And that, to be fair, here's the thing. Here's the thing I would say, Luke, as well, is that Bournemouth when we attack, Bournemouth have played a back three most of the season. Basically, when we've had Zamora at left back and Adam Smith at right back, Adam Smith never went forward. He just stayed and Zamora went on. Now we've got Kelly at left back and Smith at right back. Kelly sits, never gets forward, and Smith is allowed to bomb on. When we're attacking, we basically played with a back three all season. So it's a nominal positional change. But I do think that the issue that people have with a back three, back five is that when we're defensive, we're too defensive. We sit too deep at times. And I think a lot of people will say that about how we did in sort of the second half against once 10 minutes had gone by after the goal, we did just sit back the entire rest of the game. We should have been more aggressive going forward. And we did sit far too deep. But I don't disagree with you. And that I think I would be encouraged by sticking with this formation. Like I mentioned, I would prefer probably a more specialised right wing back ahead of Tavernier and that position. I'd want to keep Tavernier in the game, but I would probably prefer a more specialised right wing back in that role. But Vigna at left wing back is perfect. Vigna at left wing back is exactly what we need for that role, given that we don't use Zamora, who is very similar in the way that he wants to play. I agree, but just we choose our game to play when we adjust according to our position. I'm sure to players that we're scared. Shaw says to players, maybe. I don't know. It depends. Solanke, Tav, Chrissy, Vigna, and Rothwell, my real men of the match. Vigna, I didn't notice as much, I have to say, in this game as I did against Spurs, but I do think 4 out of those 5 are absolutely in the conversation. Let's get those back. Weymouth got a good chance of staying as well if they beat Dover. Good stuff. I mean, Dover are near the bottom, aren't they? I brought that one up before. Jordan, hello from this first. I think this is the best result for us. And it's more like Southampton are down and out and can't see you getting pulled back in there. Yeah, Jordan, I was, I don't know whether you were on right at the start, but there were a couple of Forest fans coming on who did ask me what a Forest fan should want out of this game. And I did say, I think Forest should have wanted Bournemouth to win because you want Bournemouth to be out of this battle and you want Southampton to have no chance of getting back up. So I think that does work best out for Forest because Bournemouth aren't the team you're trying to catch. The team you're trying to catch, admittedly, you're rather outside the relegation though, but the team you're trying to catch are Leeds and West Ham, and if Leicester and Everton get above you, then those two. But right, okay, I'm going to take a very quick break. I'm going to take about 2-minute break, just take a loo break, and then when I come back, I'm going to do a brief review, and then I'll end the stream. But I will take just a quick break now, and then I will see you in a couple of minutes. And we're back. I'm not on mute, am I? No, good. Right. Okay. I'm going to throw up sort of a transition advert here, and then I'm going to do a reaction, a match reaction review. I'm going to show us up in the table, talk a little bit about the game. Bearing in mind, I didn't really pay too much attention after we scored in the second half because I was busy chatting to everyone. But pull up a few stats, show off the XG, the momentum bar. About 10 minutes, nothing too long. And then I'll end the stream. But if you want to duck out now, then feel free to. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind. But if you want to stick around, if you have anything you'd like to put in the video so that you're up on YouTube, maybe in the morning, then feel free to. And I might put a comment or two up. Exactly 1 XG according to FOTMob. You love to see it. We've been hitting that so much more consistently the second in this sort of final quarter of the season. Love that. Right. Okay. Well, John, thanks for joining us. Up the Cherries. Yes, that's in all departments, Nick. Okay. And let me get the right brand up as well. Match reaction. There we are. So 30-second advert, and then I'll start the reaction. Hello, fans, Bournemouth fans. Welcome to Cherries Red Army, a match reaction review after Southampton 0, AFC Bournemouth 1. That puts us all the way up to 36 points. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if I jinx it. That would be us safe, as far as I'm concerned. 36 points, up nicely there in 14th position, back above West Ham after our rather dismal display at home against them on the weekend. But Southampton staying down there at the bottom, and us forming a nice 7-point gap between ourselves and the relegation zone. A gap that I don't feel is one that we will have to worry about anymore for the rest of the season. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't really looking forward to and pushing on well for our game against Leeds on the weekend, because we win that game and there's a decent chance we go level with Chelsea. And I'm regretting not putting on that bet that we'd finish above them this season. But that's for the future. Right now, let's focus on the game, because the goal comes in the second half, but to say that Bournemouth didn't deserve it, I think would be disingenuous. The lineup was one that I think, based off the Spurs game and how successful we were in that one, and how dull and impotent we were against West Ham, a return to what was giving us success in that away game felt like a sensible step. To allow us to play the more counter-attacking football that we want to play. And Southampton were happy to have more possession than us to allow us to do that. Our best chance in the first half, unfortunately, was offside with a ball from Rothwell, I believe, putting Solanke in behind to fire straight at McCarthy, the keeper, making his first appearance to start the season, falling to Vinya, who smashed it at the back of the net, but unfortunately Solanke was offside, so the goal was ruled out. But I think before we sort of talk about the goal and a bit more about how the game went, I should bring up the formations at the start of the game and the lineup. Like I said, it returned to the 3-4-2-1 that we played against Spurs. Basically the exact same formation, although I feel as though in that game, Billing was more left-sided and Christie was more right-sided. That was the only sort of swap apart from Marco Senesi coming in for the unavailable or ineligible Jack Stevens. With regards to Southampton's formation, it was their 4-4-2. Unfortunately, I had to struggle with injuries as well, with Perot coming off in the first half and James Ward-Prowse having to come off at half time with an injury. But Southampton didn't really create all that much until right at the end, which we'll get to. But as for the first half, the quality wasn't really there between both sides, I think, for the most part of things. Bournemouth, as I said, did have a shot that was given offside, or goal. We managed to put the ball back in the net, but it was given as offside, quite rightly. Very, very close, but it was offside. But apart from that, Bournemouth didn't actually have a shot on target. Both teams had 6 shots. Southampton had the 1 on target. But Bournemouth had 3 shots blocked and 3 off target. I think the closest that Southampton came to scoring against us in the first half was actually Senesi heading the ball from across onto his own bar. But for the most part, once Southampton went through the initial phase of dominance at the start of the game they had, if you look here at the momentum bar, right at the start here, Southampton definitely had considerably more of the game within the first 10, 15 minutes, maybe even a little bit going into sort of the 20th minute mark. Bournemouth then pretty much took the game into their own hands for the vast majority of the rest of the first half without creating as much as I would have liked. I felt we didn't see enough of Tavernier. We didn't see enough of Billing. I think Christie was having a decent game. I think Solanke had a really good game. Vinya having moments on the left-hand side. And Rothwell, I think, was very effective in midfield, not only in passing it around. Obviously, he made that chance for Solanke that Vinya put in the back of the net that didn't get counted, but was also doing a pretty decent job of generally dealing with Lavia, who was looked like Southampton's most dangerous player quite comfortably. Although Adam Armstrong had his moments on left mid as well. But it comes to half time, and there hasn't been a lot that's happened. Bournemouth looked slightly more likely to score, but it wasn't close. And it really could have gone either way, I think, for the most part. It just sort of, I think it definitely wanted to see a lot more from Bournemouth going forward in the second half to really sort of make something of the game. And in the end, I think it was because Southampton made a change that sort of ended up messing them about a little bit at the back, because Tavernier managed to score on the, if I get the exact minute, I want to say 50. Yes, it was 50th minute mark. Solanke burst through the middle again, as he did for the vast majority of the game. He absolutely dominated the battle between himself and the defenders. Pushes it through to Tavernier on the right-hand side, who gets down to the byline, cuts back onto his left foot. I'm expecting him to cross it, but he jinxes, he dummies, he jinxes, he dummies, and he just keeps pushing himself closer and closer to the middle of the box, and then he shoots, and it dribbles into the bottom corner. I'll need to look back at it a few times. I really don't know how that hasn't been A, blocked, and B, saved by the keeper. But it went in. And that's the important thing. No chance of there being an offside call on that one. And we go 1-0 up. And I do think that for the next sort of 10 minutes, I really don't know how Bournemouth didn't score again. If I bring up the momentum bar again, if you check over here, Bournemouth were very, very dominant for a while. You see the goal is scored around about the time where the momentum has Southampton being somewhat in the game. Bournemouth then just dominate the next 10 minutes, and I don't know how we didn't score, to be honest. The chances were coming, but we just couldn't really sort of create that concrete opportunity. But then we decide to sit a little bit deeper. Zabarnyi comes on for Senesi, who's got a yellow card, which I think was a sensible substitution. A little bit further down the line, you have Tavernier gets an injury, which I hope that's not going to keep him out the rest of the season. Admittedly, again, I think we're safe, but I would rather him not be injured. But it did look like his hamstring went as he was running for something. Smith comes on, which is a more defensive substitution. Could have been Ouattara. Could have been Brooks, even. I think would have really Ouattara and Smith were the right two options. But he goes for Smith, which is more defensive, but Smith does a decent job on the right side. And we just sit deep. We really don't look like counter-attacking in the way that I would have wanted us to, and that's partly due to Tavernier playing on the right-hand side, Tavernier not being available on the right-hand side anymore. But really, this was a period of the game I was able to just chat with the Bournemouth fans on this live stream, because Southampton didn't look like scoring to me. They were putting balls in the box, but we were defending every single one of them. They really weren't making any chances at all. The only thing were having pot shots from outside the area. Anytime they tried to get into the box, we were generally just shepherding them wide. I think the formation and the defense and midfield were doing really well at just nullifying Southampton and just forcing them to make crosses that they don't have the men to take advantage of. You had Zabarnyi, Mepham, and Kelly in there, occasionally Billing helping out as well with the rest of the midfield and the rest of the defense. We had the height and the physicality to easily deal with basically everything that came to the box. Until right at the end of the game, 88th minute, the midfield and the left-hand side of the defence do not deal with Stuart Armstrong, who has come on and puts in a really good dribble into the box, gets himself past a couple of players. Kelly has to come and meet him, which leaves space in the middle of the defence for Che Adams. And Mepham, unfortunately, falls asleep a bit, doesn't close down his man. Che Adams doesn't even hit it first time. He takes a touch and then whacks it into the roof of the net. And on first replay, I thought, goal, that's really bad. But at the same time, a point isn't the end of the world. And then second replay, they put the freeze frame in at a different time, draw the lines, and he's quite clearly offside by half a foot. And I just felt so sorry for Southampton. But also, it was quite funny. We did have a bit of a nice laugh about that on this watch along. Just in terms of, obviously, it gets us the 3 points. That VAR decision does confirm the 3 points for us, but also send Southampton down. Really, I can't see them getting that. This was their last chance to really pick up the 3 points they needed to kickstart their survival, and they didn't. They weren't able to do it. I mean, a point wouldn't have been good enough for them, but hey, VAR has screwed with us enough times this season. I think there was a handball call that, if it had happened at the start of the season, would have been given in our favour, because Lerma's handball against Newcastle was given for less than Bednarek's handball from Christie's cross shot into the box, which could easily have been given as a handball under VAR on another day. But it doesn't really matter, because we had the goal and we didn't concede. A clean sheet is great. Third win in a row on the road, which is fantastic. Leicester, Spurs, and Southampton beating the teams around us and getting points where you don't expect it. And yeah, we're all feeling pretty darn good. It's a victory. It's a 3 points. It's survival. I really think that basically guarantees it. But we do have a few more games left in the season. 5 more to go. 3 at home, 2 away. And Leeds is a fantastic opportunity. That game should have quite a few goals in it. Hopefully we don't squander a 2-goal lead again. But I'm feeling pretty confident going into that game. And yeah, really looking forward to that game. Unfortunately, it's Sunday again, which sucks. I'm not a fan of Sunday games. I like having games on a Saturday, my Saturday revolving around them, and then having the Sunday to do what I like. But oh well, never mind. If we win, I won't care. Obviously, West Ham's the game against West Ham last weekend wasn't good, but hopefully the one against Leeds will be. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us on this match review reaction. And also big thank you to everyone that joined me for the watch along live that I did for us playing against Southampton. it's been a hell of a season, but it looks like we are well and truly settled and safe in the Premier League. Good to say that. Now the conversation can start about players. And I do think that there's, I think a bit harshly, still decent conversation going around about the manager for next season. I personally want to stick with Gary O'Neill. I think if you've been successful, you deserve the opportunity to keep it going. But I know there's a lot of fans that haven't appreciated the mistakes he's made this season. I think he's done good enough, and he's still learning. I feel it harsh to throw away a good thing, praying for a better thing, when that doesn't exist in football. A sure thing doesn't exist. But that's my thoughts. I know there's a good conversation for people to have. And I'll look forward to whoever is managing us next season in the Premier League for the 2023-24 season. But until then, thank you very much for joining me. And I do wish you a great rest of your day. Up the Cherries.